keeps most of the government running until January 30th. Black Congresswoman Terry Sewell visited the Selma Area Food Bank, which reports a 30% spike in demand during the shutdown. She's pushing for federal funding to protect SNAP and keep food banks serving families in Alabama's Black Belt. And TMZ says Wendy Williams has been reevaluated and does not have frontotemporal dementia. Doctors found no sign of the condition that put her under guardianship in 2022, and her legal team now plans to fight to restore her independence. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
Whoa, now. What's happening, good people? How y'all doing? Hoping everybody having a good, what's today? Wednesday? Yeah. You start losing track of days, boy. And the older you get, you be like, well, what did I miss? What day is it? It is Wednesday, over the hump day, in full effect. Some of you already getting off work, ready to go home. You done had your whole day. Well, make sure you tell somebody to tune in because we got a lot to talk about. Short time to talk about it in. And I got a couple of topics that I want to talk about. And one of them deals with something here that I really don't think that everybody is aware of. And that is one of the sponsors, largest sponsors of short-term rentals, Airbnbs, got the contract for a lot of that through the Marriott. Just said, we out. And everybody's like, what? Yeah, they just said today. They sent out an email to all their employees. They sent it out to all the folks that have booked Airbnbs and hotel rooms from here all the way through, that they have quit. They are out. They are going out of business. So the question is, several different things that I got to ask in this topic of conversation. Do you know who I'm talking about without me saying it? Because a lot of us ain't paying attention. A lot of us not paying attention. And I'm upset at it for a couple of reasons, but I'm going to get into that. Should I wait for the phone to ring? Should I? I can tell you if you want me to tell you. Go on, Gerod, tell it. Because you know you want to tell it. Yep. The name of the company is called Sonder. Now, I know some of you that may have short-term rentals where y'all got, Airbnbs and you going to the beach next year and yada, 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 yada. But as of today, for those folks that have come into New Orleans with Airbnbs and went into hotel rooms and all of that, don't be surprised because they're knocking on your door and they're telling you to get out. The hotels are telling you, sorry, but the company that you paid to get this room went out of business. Sorry. And they didn't pay for your room or all of your incidentals, so you have to leave. You're being evicted from your place to stay. Now let me give you the overview. The short-term rental company that recently shut down, and it shut down in New Orleans as well, is Sonder. That's the name of it, Sonder, which was formerly the largest operator in the city. The closure happened abruptly on today. Well, let me say yesterday. After its licensing agreement with Marriott ended. Separately, Airbnb is not quitting the market, but was delisting some of the properties due to the city's new stricter short-term rental rules and had filed a lawsuit against the city, which was recently dismissed. But what had happened? See, what had happened was the company once had over 700 short-term rentals in New Orleans. Can you believe that? They had 700 short-term rentals in New Orleans. The closure followed the termination of its license agreement with Marriott, but the shutdown impacted many smaller rental properties that had Sonder units, and that is according to NOLA.com. So let's think about something. Because a lot of us hadn't asked these questions, and we maybe should have. As you can probably tell in my tone, I may be a little twisted about the short-term rental game. Well, what do you mean, Gerard? And I said I wasn't going to spend much time explaining this today, but it looks like I already walked into that corner, and I'm going to. Many of you, just like me, may have come up under parents that believe that you should own property. Buy your house. Don't be paying somebody else's. No, buy your own. You gotta try to buy your own. Get you a house. Stop trying to get all these different cars. Cars lose value. Homes gain value. So get you some property. And if you get you a nice house and you can afford it, what you want to do is get you some more property. That takes your value and your wealth up, right? So you buy more than one house. You stay in one of them. You lease the other one out, make enough money so that it'll pay for that one and maybe pay for yours. Or you buy you a double. Buy you a double, and your tenant that lives on the other side will be able to pay for the whole mortgage. Be paying your mortgage and that mortgage. So why are you bringing this up, Gerod? Because I think it is important that we get back to some of our values of creating wealth in our community. And we know that property is one of the best forms of wealth that any black family, black person, black man, black woman, black child could have in his or her possession to make wealth and value be on your side. Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. So in this city of renters, oh, I know you got mad at me just that quick. Don't be mad. Don't be mad, Twan. Don't be mad. In this city of renters, because that's what we ended up being, a city of renters. What's wrong? And I honestly believe, and I've even talked to some of my housing advocates that say the same thing, but they said, yeah. So you have, and I'm talking to the low income folks. I ain't talking to all of you rich folks out there. I'm talking to the low income folks. The low income folks that I read about and talk about all the time, that your household only brings in less than or of $38,000 a year. The household, not one person, the household. So if you're in that category, I really feel that you, mama, daddy, young buck, sister, whoever that lives in that household that's responsible for paying that rent, you have the opportunity to be that next homeowner quicker than somebody that's got to get it for himself with no assistance. What? Yes. There are programs for you, my brother, my sister, that will help you even if you're getting a voucher. I'm sorry, did you hear me? Want me to say that again? If you're getting a voucher, there's a program for you that you can actually use your voucher to purchase your own home. Not lose the voucher when you do it. You still get the voucher. The voucher continues to come and pay your mortgage. So you have the opportunity, better than some folks that's out here struggling to get the down payment, that's trying to make sure that their credit cleaned off, got their taxes in order. You have just as good a chance to get a house as they do. With that being said, I told you that's a whole show. That's a whole show by itself. With that being said, I didn't want to lose the fact that this has been known as the city of service, where we out here, we doing everybody else's, we hospitality, we doing everything in hospitality. We cooking, we dancing, we sewing, we selling pop-ups, and we doing all. So since this has been and is a city of tourism, why would a company like Sonder have a contract for over 700 properties in this city and nothing happened to them but short-term rental issues have come before the city council because we got a lot of folks that are doing NIMBY. Y'all know what NIMBY is, huh? You know what NIMBY is? You don't know what NIMBY is? No, for real? I thought you would be amening it.
Sounds like a stripper name.
Sound like a what?
Sounds like a stripper name.
No, that's where your mind is. All the time, strippers. I'm going to have a conversation with Donna. I need to have some conversations with her.
That's my private dancer.
Well, I'm going to tell her what you said, too. Looking like Tina Turner over there, boy.
Like who?
Tina Turner. And your private dancer. Anyway. Oh, Lord. Shoom, shoom, shoom.
Eat the cake, Gerod.
Eat the cake yourself, LMA. So, NIMBY. Let's go back to it. Not in my backyard.
I didn't
It's
put
okay. Don't know explanation is
with.
needed. I know you're slow today. And got on your nerves again.
All
today.
week, bro. I'm just
all week.
not with it, bro.
So what we found out was in the city of New Orleans, there are a lot of folks that are making complaints in neighborhoods that don't think that they should be seeing you walk through their neighborhoods, going into these houses, having these parties. So they were like, no, not in my neighborhood. That even happened to one of the Landrew sisters. She owned a property up near St. Charles Avenue, and they complained, and she had to take off that Airbnb off her own property. So one of the things that I know is that when you go to rent an Airbnb, You want it to be a nice place. You want it to be in a nice part of town. You want it to be something that you, your lady, if y'all leave out in the nighttime, you ain't got to worry about it. You ain't got to duck down because there were gunshots and they coming through the window. So why wouldn't I want to own a property? Why wouldn't I want to own a property where it's in a nice place? But let me throw this in here because this is what it's really about with me. It does not mean that I should have a property on St. Charles Avenue and I should be able to do what I want to do with it. You've got to go by the rules of the homeowners association. But everybody's not coming to town to have a party and invite 300 drunk folks to come out in the yard and cut the music up and turn up for at least 2 or 3 days and leave trash all over everything and trash the whole neighborhood. But some of those folks that I'm talking about here do that anyway on days of Mardi Gras, Bayou Classic, New Year's. I can keep going. Festivals, they're going to do that anyway. I saw plenty of them this year because I had the opportunity. I didn't participate. I was not going to participate because that's not who I am. But I saw a lot of neighborhoods that were inundated with white and black men walking around with red dresses on. What was that, Gerard? The red dress run. You ain't know them folks? And they was in town. But I'm trying to make sure that I look at this in a professional way, more so than just criticize everybody for NIMBY. Because I didn't want to do that today. But I am looking at this in the opportunity of how rich can you get in hospitality? Because you serving somebody? Because you working in somebody's restaurant? We are putting damaging policy on folks that live here that don't have the opportunity to buy a whole bunch of properties and be able to lease them out and make several $1,000s a week. Why wouldn't we want to do that? We letting big old corporations like Sonder do it. They had 900 of them. Not only just with the Marriott, but Airbnbs. We got upset because we say, "Oh, what we're going to do is you got to take that business and go through being accepted as a short-term rental through city council." But you just can't do it. But how many of us, compared to these out-of-state companies, had the opportunity to buy the lot next door? Because y'all told me that program was for me, but I ain't heard nobody really just say, "Oh, that's such a great program." I have not ever since that was brought up, I have not heard anybody say, "That's such a great property. Oh, I love that program." Have you? We instilled that program or installed that program right after Katrina. It's been at least been in service for the last 15, 16 years. I even have men that would call me up and tell me, "Hey man, look, I thought I was going to get the opportunity to buy this lot and be able to do something with it, put another home on it, because of the fact that I was taking care of it. I was cutting the grass. I was making sure that it looked good. And I did that for several years. And then when somebody came in and they just gave them a whole swath of properties, they included the one that I was taking care of. I didn't even have an opportunity to pledge it. They just gave them a whole bucket full of properties for them to have." And I'm like, wow. Not good. So how many times are you looked over? Now, I get the argument probably from a whole bunch of officials saying, oh, short-term rentals, we need to get a hold on it. And I understand that. But did you have to get a hold on it from us? Or did you have to get a hold on it from those companies from out of town that saw the value and were willing to pay for it because they could make triple the money by leasing it out? Everybody wants to come to New Orleans. Everybody wants to come to New Orleans. So why not? So let's say you and your wife, or just you or your wife by herself, been working to do this stuff, and you have great credit. You want to do and go get you some properties and be able to use that property as your second property and be able to say, I want to put it up as an Airbnb. Isn't that a great form of income? Why do the major companies get the opportunity to do it and locals here don't? Don't make sense. And then the fight has been, well, short-term rentals is not good. Is it? Because evidently it's been good for somebody else, because now they leaving out. So why wouldn't I want 3 or 4? Do y'all know that if you get 3 or 4, let's say the average person, the average family, not rich, but you have the opportunity to buy 5 properties, can get them fixed up, and you own 5 properties in your own hometown, and you can lease them out for Airbnb. What would that do for you on an average weekend? I'm not even listing the number of times that you could probably, and the money that you could make, because you got New Year's, Mardi Gras. What else we got during all these different festivals? Jazz Fest, Bayou Classic. Everybody wants to come to New Orleans. And the amount of money that you could make as a family, as a man or woman that lives here, born and raised here, compared to these companies we didn't let slip in, we gave them the deal of a lifetime, and they doing it. But I got to hear that if I do it and y'all didn't agree to it in the government, y'all would go and take the meter off the wall, and we have no electricity. That's why I got a problem with it. I'm trying to figure out, was that even considered? Because that's what the bigger companies were doing. Now the bigger companies are saying, oops, we out. Now we stuck. And people coming to New Orleans stuck because they are being evicted from hotel rooms and Airbnbs because of Sonder. I wonder who's addressing that. All right, we got more coming up, y'all. We got to take a break. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. Have some more conversation about this in just a minute. Even if you're against it, if you're against short-term rentals or not, do you really understand it? That's number one. And then number two, have you thought about that if you owned 4 or 5 Airbnbs or short-term rentals, how much money would you be making a week? Not a year or a month. I'm talking about a week. How much would you make in a week? You got 4 weeks or sometimes 5 in a month. How much money could you make if you had 4 or 5 Airbnbs? More coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
I'm David Pontan Sr., owner of Whole Water and Food Over Medicine Academy, coach, consultant, and instructor We're excited about our 21-day challenge. Stop, prevent, and reverse disease today. Cholesterol, diabetes type 2, high blood pressure, along with chronic illnesses and diseases. We believe that the gift of wellness is the greatest gift, and for $30 per month, $1 a day, you could have this gift for you and your family.
I'm Phyllis Washington, and I've benefited with health and weight loss.
For your gift of $30, healing and wellness can be yours. Call 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. The Whole Water Store. See you at 2135 Washington Avenue today.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
Hi, this is Cary Grant. Let's elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events and sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join us every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Cary Show.
You've got responsibilities, but that doesn't mean your dreams are on hold. At Southern University at New Orleans, our evening and weekend college is designed with your life in mind. Finish your degree. Start a new one. On your time. Your degree. Your schedule. No excuses. Just opportunity. Visit suno.edu and make your next move today.
Meet Leanna, a part-time chef and full-time mom. In the past, Leanna didn't have health insurance because she didn't think she could afford it. What she didn't realize is she qualified for Medicaid. She loves the coverage and peace of mind that comes with high-quality care. The kind of care you get with Healthy Blue. This is Medicaid, and it's for more people than you think. Maybe even you. To see if you qualify, go to myhealthybluela.com.
Did you hear the news? Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom has a new time. Catch us now every Wednesday at noon. Same program, same great conversations. Just a new time. So catch Dr. Clark's 101 The Living Classroom this Wednesday and every Wednesday only on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, right back at you. My number 504-582-9422 for all of our folks listening by other ways, other means, whether it's on the website, Facebook, or you're listening to us at 12:30 a.m. Supposed to be listening at 107.12, but you know, we'll talk about that later. But here we go. What you say, James?
I ain't saying too much. How about yourself?
Oh, bro, you know I'm fair to middling. That's what the folks usually say, fair to middling.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I agree with you. I think I agree with you. I'm not sure if you asking us for our opinion or if you kind of leading us to date.
No, I'm trying.
The
That's
way
my
you
thoughts.
feel, man. If what's good for the goose should be good for the people in the city, right?
But I'm trying to figure out why it's not good for anybody else except for these major companies that have multiple, very big multiple numbers of Airbnbs and short-term rentals.
Yeah. Then they come here and they get all kind of tax breaks.
Yep.
I had to pay what we got to pay. You know, that's the status quo. You know, and I hope somebody from the council listening, so that when we go forward, we won't have these $160 million deficits and got to go big to use our own money at the state level. You dig? We could just go ahead on and open up the books and let everybody do what's expected of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we can pay our fair share. But it starts with allowing us to earn a fair share, you know?
But
so,
if I have...
I mean, we got a lot of family homes that's vacated and can't get repaired because we don't have an income substantial enough to maintain or or take care of those homes.
Right.
Which would allow probably somebody in the family that's on Section 8 to move into a family property and help the family. But that's the way I see it, bro. I agree with you.
I just
agree
think there's
with
so much more than we can do than it just goes straight to government that's going to say, no, you can't do that. And if you are, by the way, a short-term rental owner and you want to use it as short-term rental, you better put in your proposal to us and let us say yay and nay. And if you don't do it that way, then we have the right to get the electric company, energy, to come and pull your meter off the wall.
I mean, like I said, the way we do business in this city kind of ass backwards, but that's the way we do business. We short the little man, and the big dog get all the free perks. This ain't Hollywood, bro. This ain't Hollywood. This is the Big Easy. We're supposed to make it not easy but feasible for everybody to get a little piece of this pie. And the Indians shouldn't have had to ask for their fair share. The brass band shouldn't have had to ask for their fair share. These are things that should just already be baked into the thing. So, anyway, bro. And one more thing. What I got to say about I agree with you about them lot next doors. You got to maintain a property for a year. When you put your little money down, and then at the end of that year, like you said, a big company like this or somebody that's willing to buy 3, 4, 5 of them, able to buy 3, 4, 5 of them, come right in,
swoop it right from underneath
you, and take it right from under you.
Yep,
that's crazy.
Yep,
that's crazy, and you can't do nothing with it for a year. So,
and I've heard too many people say that that's what happened to them. That they just wanted to take care of the property. Is right. The property was in their vicinity because it has to be right beside you, in front of you, or behind you, whichever one. And you take care of that property. You cut the grass, you weed eating it, you putting chemicals down so there won't be any type of varmints around. And next thing you know, you don't have nothing to do with the property, because it was given to somebody else. They gave them a sloth of them, 4 and 5 of them. And we just included that in there. I'm like, wait a minute. How'd that work? We were never considered. But when we bring these things up, everybody get quiet. Not everybody, but everybody get quiet. And I'm just trying to make sure that we understand something. And what you need to understand is keep on leaving it silent. Not saying something. It's been 20 years. And now we got more laws and interpretations of what the law should be and all this crap that should be helping you. That's not giving you the opportunity as a native, as somebody that's been here, as somebody that has been in the community, to ever make any money. How much money could you make if you were that person? It shouldn't be 4 and 5 that's going to the meeting at City Hall. We should have hundreds of folks that's doing a whole lot better. Wait a minute, let me say that again just for the people that are maybe caught up doing something at this time. We should have hundreds of people that we are making wealth for in your own community. How does that sound? We are letting other people come into our community, other companies come into our community, and take hold of properties that they have no idea what it is. We letting them go because they were in a tax sale, It was just a vacant lot. It was a slab, and we running it through an agency. And this agency is like, oh, okay, cool. So let me ask this question without sounding just straight up prejudice. Everybody just went, uh-oh. You not sounding prejudiced? Why you shaking your head? Ain't funny.
I know you.
I'm just ask the question. That's I don't know no other way to ask it. This ain't politically correct. This ain't gonna be sensitive to the ears. So if you're sensitive, you might either want to turn the radio off or at least put your hands over your ears. Don't do it if you got your hands over the on the steering wheel. But I really need to know the answer to this, and I think that we all grown. So here we go. Is there paperwork that will show how many blacks in New Orleans were successful with this and buying properties to be able to fix up and make into rental homes, Airbnbs? Well, that's the problem, Gerod. What's the problem? They're making them Airbnbs instead of making them rental homes. The cost of rent is also a problem in New Orleans. Somebody came into this marketplace and said, oh, the rent here is too low and the market is calling for this. I think it happened when we said we're going to tear down the projects and we're going to get these new projects. And so we started raising rent during that time so that they could say, okay, this is how much money you need to pay for this new spectacular place that we're putting up. I think that's when we started seeing the increase of rental property in New Orleans. But y'all forgot something. There was an increase of rental properties, but there was not an increase in the salaries that I needed to be able to make to be able to pay that rent and be comfortable and have some money left over. You increase how much my property was worth. But did you ever think about, well, I needed to be able to say that this is the income that I need to make to be able to pay this amount of money? Kingfish.
Hey, man, what's going on?
What's happening with you?
Look, listen at me good. I live in the 2600 block of Desire. I've been in this particular neighborhood for 46 years. I've tried to acquire the property next door from Miss Ariane Tipper, the lot next door. Cut the grass for 30 years. I didn't get nothing. I cleared the lot and everything. And recently they told me they sold a lot right next door to my house right now to the guy that had the Victory Garden. He has about 5 lots in this area that he put garden on and never cut the grass. Just recently, listen at me good, in the 2600 block of Desire, I come from the clinic, I got a bus parked next door to my house. I don't want no bus. I don't know where it come from, but I was understood that it belonged to the people that had the garden right next door to me. And they sold to the city, Mr. Eugene, a while back, made it so that a lot of property back here could be acquired by people a couple of years ago. Eugene Green, I remember that. I remember that. You see, a lot of these people forget, but I've been in this neighborhood a long time, and you got these new people just come up here and do what they want to do.
How did it make you feel to know that you had been cutting that grass for that long, didn't charge nobody. Now you just took care of it. Did you take the pictures?
Right.
Because that was one of what they said.
Yeah.
All you got to do is be able to take care of that property next door. Take the photos to let them know that you're cutting it and taking care of it, and you'll be the first person to have the rights of refusal to buy that property.
The lady name is Miss Ariane Tipper, the lot next door. I talked with the godfather of this city, Jim Singleton. That's who should have been the mayor a long time ago. This time around, it should have been Oliver. You know what I'm saying? Because Oliver know where all the bones is. And people going to feel real bad about this. But those lots that these other people acquired, it made me feel shame. Because they acquired the lot for like $3,000.
Right.
And the average lot in this particular area is going for 20. Right here, this, and they have what they call affordable houses. Affordable houses that they build, little new houses, little bitty rooms, and some of the houses don't even have a back door. They do not have a back door. And it's 3 bedrooms with a bath and a half.
So who told you that the lot had been acquired? Who told you that?
I'm right down here in the night ward. I'm in the midst of it.
I understand that, but I'm telling you, I'm asking you, did anybody from the city or some other location come in and say, hey, this place has been this has been acquired?
Yes. From global realty. Offered me for my place $350,000.
Oh, so they tried to buy yours too?
Oh yeah, I'm a thorn in the side.
Oh, okay.
Because if I move you to have all the way from Florida Avenue halfway to Low, that's 3/3 of the block. I'm blocking because I've been here, like I said, 46 years.
Wow.
The Desire Mental Clinic been empty for 30 years. Desire in Florida Avenue, Desire Mental Health Clinic, and it's a shame. Mr. Eugene Green and them, they do nothing about that. And when they put the canal in the middle of Desire Street, there's a grate that's in the middle of the street. Every time a car passes, it sounds like a bomb going on, and that's been going on for 4 years. Eugene Green. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like I say, they put the recreation center way on the other side of the tracks.
Right. Yeah.
And I can count the people that come. I can count. But no, I don't know nobody, because at one time that lot next door was presented to the people that lived next door.
Now, I was going to ask you, do you know anybody that was successful in it?
No, not even. I know people that acquired it just like me. And it's like I said, the lady was running the program. Her name is Ariane Tipper. I done been up there to the city hall and all that, talked to Jim Singleton and everybody. I even got records. Same to her, but at that time I could see. I'm blind as a brick now. That's why I'm not going nowhere. But I can tell you, I don't know nobody from on this side, the upper Ninth Ward, and cross the canal in the lower Ninth Ward, because that's where I'm from, the lower Ninth Ward. And I know damn near everybody that was graduated from McCarty School, Lawless School, Horden School, all those schools I'm familiar with, but no, nobody.
Okay.
Nobody.
All right, well, I'm trying to find somebody in this show, because I don't know nobody. I have never heard anybody tell the story about their success. I have not heard anybody.
But I know this politician, the lady that had over 100 of the people. She's no longer with the city, but that was the employer of the city. I ain't gonna mention the name because I know the family, but those were the people that acquired the properties, because they was on the inside. They knew who property, how they stole all those people property. People didn't know that you could take it. You had 3 years to pay the delinquents on the taxes. It wasn't explained to people. That whole Universal Hospital of that way, all that property they stole that from them people. They stole that.
All right.
They stole that.
All right, Kingfish. Thank you, sir. Always good to talk to you.
Good.
I'll talk to you in a minute. All right. So 504-582-9422 is my number. Let me make sure, because I'm speaking on my behalf, not behalf of the program, but I'm gonna go back though, and I remember a lot of this stuff. We had, and I know y'all gonna remember this. We had over 10,000 abandoned properties in New Orleans, right? And the emphasis was putting them back in commerce. So there are several different things to me that I think that we could have done better. I'm not here to criticize any other company, but I know that we had these 10,000 properties, and we had several different nonprofit organizations that were willing to come in and start building for different looks. That's what I call it, looks. Some of them, I think, did excellent jobs. They put together neighborhoods like Musician Village for those musicians that keep the culture of New Orleans going. But I'm looking for something else. I'm looking for those medium market, middle class. I done worked my job for 30, 40 years. I'm about to retire, and I'm looking for some investments. Instead of just sitting there collecting the check for the remainder of your life, you won't do something else. So you start talking about doing investments in your own community, getting some of these houses. How many of us live in neighborhoods or have lived in neighborhoods that you got people coming back to New Orleans, and this is right after Katrina or 5 or 10 years after Katrina. They coming back to New Orleans to live, but on your street or one close to it, there's still a couple of houses that are boarded up. Long as they cut the grass or have somebody to cut the grass, they don't get no fines and fees. And some still like that in neighborhoods today. Y'all hold tight. We got to talk about that too. More coming up, y'all.
This is Monica Pierre along with Sally Ann Roberts Daybone, co-host of Your Power is On.
Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for music that feeds the spirit. Get your Sunday on.
Right here on WBOK 1230 AM and WBOK1230.com, the station you listen to all day long.
The National World War II Museum, located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans. The National World War II Museum tells the story of America's experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
Hey, New Orleans, this is First Lady of Funk with Jason Edward Funky Soul Band. Get out November 15 and vote for Calvin Duncan.
Just chasing up, dog. When it comes to them vocals, I'ma run that. When it comes to your vote, let him get that. Let your voice be heard. This is giving you his word. Vote, make this change for something for Calvin Duncan. Vote this Saturday. Vote Calvin Duncan.
Paid for by Calvin for Clark.
Hey, Pontchartrain Park. Thanks for listening to WBOK.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Had to replenish thy water. Am I making sense to some folks? I know that I don't know the whole deal. I'm not the one to sit down and say, okay, let's go through this ordinance. Let's go through this ordinance. Let's go through this. But how did we get here as folks that are the majority in this city went through hell and high water to come back, and they selling your $100,000 home for the tax property, or they're using your property for Airbnbs? And I don't think y'all understand. I really don't. I really don't think that you understand the amount of money that an Airbnb costs. Let's say somebody wants to come to New Orleans and they want to stay here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leaving on Monday. So you have to pay, and I'm gonna give a good rate. Let's say that's $250 a night for Airbnb that you're paying for the fees, and you're paying, because the fees can all sometimes run up the price of what you're renting. Clean up, changing the sheets, towels, somebody to come in to take care of the property and stuff. So if you're paying $250 a night, that could be a good property, because you're not just paying for a room, you're paying for a home, a condo, and you got 3 nights. I don't think we realize that could be $750 a weekend. Good Lord. That's on one property, right? So let's say that you do $750 a weekend. And then you doing, you sitting back and saying to yourself, well, I'm doing $750 a weekend. You're doing what, $1,500, $3,000 a month. So if I'm doing $3,000 a month times 12 months, that's $36,000 a year. Now understand something though. Now this might be the one to make you pick up the phone and call me and say, "Man, I ain't thought about it like that." Okay. So let's say you just doing it, and that's low that I'm giving you. I'm giving you something that's low as far as a figure. But if you're doing $1,500 half a month time what? Two more weeks, that's $3,000. $3,000 times 12, that's $36,000. All right, so I gave you that figure for a reason. Now, write that down, $36,000 a year. And more than likely, all you have to do is go in, change the sheets, change the code on the door for the next person, clean up after they leave, right? Either you can find you a company that does it, or you can do it yourself. That's $36,000 a year. Like, why are you so fixed on this $36,000? I'm fixed on this $36,000 because the statistics that we're listening to from all of those folks that say that we are a poor community are saying that an average income for your household, not per person, but your household is $8,000 a year. You are making $2,000 less by just leasing out an Airbnb than your whole household. And you ain't got to lift nothing. You just got to do, yeah, well, you do, because you might have to clean it up to get started. What? Yeah. Now, that's just one. Imagine if you did 2 or 3. Did you get quiet too? Everybody still doing the math? Imagine if you did 2 or 3. All right, let's go a little bit further. I think that there is a reason why I really do. I think there's a reason why this doesn't come back. And there was such a big push to, how can I put this? What's the good word to use? To make you think that this was a bad thing. This is bad. Oh, not in my neighborhood. No, we shouldn't have no short-term rentals here. We shouldn't be doing this. We should not be doing this. And to have the officials of this city to say, yeah, we shouldn't do it. Let's put an ordinance together. It looks like the ordinance that was put together was to stop folks like me and you. But there was no order to stop Airbnb, the company, Verbo, the company, Sonder, the company. Because as many short-term rentals as there were, we didn't stop them. They're still here. But the economic times of right now are showing less people coming to this city. Why? Planes dropping out the air. We don't have enough planes to get here. Folks saying it costs too much. Economics. So the folks that live here that wanted to take part, you SOL. You are SOL. All right, y'all. News is next. We'll come back with more in just a minute. Get your calls in too. 504-582-9422. More coming up next.
Of Xavier University. WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. An Army gynecologist at Fort Hood in Texas is accused of secretly recording women during exams. In an exclusive interview with NBC, the Jane Doe has a message for Army leaders.
Shame on you for letting this happen. Shame on you for not taking action.
A lawsuit claims Dr. Blaine McGraw exploited patients. He's been suspended while the Army investigates. Chicago aldermen want more solutions for the city's billion-dollar deficit. They're urging Black Mayor Brandon Johnson to dig deeper into an EY consultant's report. Johnson says he's open to ideas but defends his corporate tax plan, calling on big companies to pay their fair share. And iHeartMedia and TikTok are teaming up for a first-of-its-kind partnership, launching TikTok Radio and a new podcast network with up to 25 creator-hosted shows. The deal also includes live events. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. All right, here's my number, 504-582-9422. Well, y'all get quiet when we start doing stuff like this one. I think this one, we start talking about these short-term rentals, y'all get quiet. I think the other one we get quiet on is education. We get real quiet on those. Don't say nothing, bro. You could end up being the bad guy today. I just got my text. I ain't going to call her name, but she just said, short-term rentals destroy neighborhoods. She know who she is. She going to text me back. I can't believe you said that. I ain't call your name. Short-term rentals destroys neighborhoods, and the corporations are the worst. I agree that the corporations are the worst. But that's not what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting the short-term rental ordinances that have kicked out the small guys. Because these corporations came in here and they just basically took over everything. And the ordinances, to me, that were put in place were kicking us down, but not kicking the big corporations down. Oh, they got the money, they got the power, they got the legal stuff. They'll sue you. And they still got a lawsuit in this city about Airbnbs because Airbnb decided that they were going to sue. And that lawsuit is still in play. But while that lawsuit is still in play, they still leasing out places for people to come and rent. Short-term leases. And I agree with one thing and one thing only. But there has to be something to incentivize me because you all started it. The folks here started it. What you talking about, Gerard? No. Don't back out now. You all started this because I got this program. You're going to be able to take care of this program. See, when we had over 10,000 abandoned parcels that were not in commerce, everybody was trying to figure out how in the hell we going to damn cut all this grass. We ain't got enough gasoline and lawnmowers to do it because these folks done left it. How we going to incentivize these folks to at least take your lawnmower and cut your neighbor's grass? I'm going to incentivize it by saying, just start up a program called Lot Next Door. Oh, ding, ding, ding. We were thinking about I could own that lot. Man, get me the lawnmower. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to weed eat it. I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to grow some vegetables on it if you let me. And we're going to take care of this. And how long I got to do this? I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to do the whole deal. Then when these corporations came in and said, we want more than one lot, we want to be able to put all this stuff out here, we started selling these lots in bundles, not caring that the individual that lived next door that had an investment in that neighborhood wanted to be able to purchase that property for what it was worth or less, or that the fact that they took care of it. And that was ignored, even though that's the stuff that y'all were telling us. And I still go back to my original statement. My mom told me, she said, baby, don't worry about buying no cars. Because you buy a car and you get on the highway and dad gonna get into an accident, it's totaled. It ain't worth nothing. It don't appreciate. It does not at all appreciate. But if you get you some property, more than likely it will. So here's the opportunity for me as a resident that wants to take care of my neighborhood, that wants to be able to put something on that piece of property that I own. You telling me no. Or you showing me no. How about that? And now we got the verbiage together where we're saying, oh, short-term rentals are bad. No, the way that you all operate short-term rentals was bad and still is bad. There ain't too much here in this city that black folks could have the opportunity to put some wealth in their pocket. One of the things we know that if we have wealth, we have something that is worthy of you saying, okay, cool. Maybe you can get you a loan. Maybe you can get you a building loan, construction loan. Why? I want to put a property. I want to put a house on this property. Okay, cool. Put your property up as collateral. You'll be able to do some things. Did we even consider the economics of this at all? I don't know. Galloway.
What's going on, Brother G? How you doing today, man?
You the man, brother. You the man.
Nah, brother, you talking good economics today, brother. You hitting a lick on me. Hey, I got a question for you. Do you remember when they were selling those lots and those and plots of land and houses starting off at 99 cents during Mitch Landrieu?
Yeah.
That's when all that stuff started, G.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, the Lot Next Door program, but it was also through NORA. So it was diverted from the city of New Orleans to the NORA project. I mean, to NORA, and they had to get those properties adjudicated. So those 99-cent properties, I think that was a farce. So when we talked,
big time,
because what we ended up with was a 99-cent property where you had to pay the lawyer that was going through and was making sure that the title was clear and all this other stuff. They ended up selling those properties starting off at $3,500. I might be able to say it's 99 cents, but I needed to include the adjudicated amount of money that was going to be at least $3,500.
Gerard, I'm telling you this. and I'm going to keep saying this to my folks in New Orleans. Y'all better get ready. They are about to take every piece of land from you as a black person.
Mm-hmm.
Right there in the 6th Ward where I live. You got 0.09 of an acre. You know how much it costs, Gerard? $125,000 to buy that.
Wow.
125.
Wow.
Now, who can really afford 125? Now, and this is just a piece of land.
Right.
I'm telling you, you can just draw a hopscotch on that thing. Mm-hmm. But they thinking you can squeeze a little shotgun house through there and build on that.
Yep.
It's not just a Treme, it's in every neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You know, the proximity to the French Quarter is one of the things that they are selling throughout the Treme. And they're trying to take everything. You got houses that are 1,300 square feet selling for $275,000 right now in the Treme.
Wow.
These lots, it's horrible, man.
Well, Treme used to be and used to have the title of the biggest African American neighborhood in America. I don't think that it holds that title anymore because of the gentrification.
Not only does it not hold the title anymore, they will squeeze you out through property taxes. Say if you staying in your house like I do short-term rental, so it's a mess. I can tell you that right now. And you saying $36,000 a year? Gee, double that. That's what I make off mine.
Wow.
And listen, and that's what giving some people breaks. Seriously, like somebody that I might know that I served with, let you go stay down there for a week, pay half of what I charge somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's capitalism. So you can really make some money. That's why I don't have to worry about that house down there when it comes to property taxes, because I make so much money off of it.
Right.
But it's a headache though, because they will sit there. Those companies come from New York, California, and it's another city. And those people, and I complain to Freddie King them about this stuff all the time. Why don't y'all write legislation to stop this stuff? Because if you don't get a hold of it, pretty soon you will have a whole street, whether it's the Treme, the Ninth Ward, Uptown, no matter, owned by some people that's never even been to New Orleans.
Wow.
I'm telling you, the people that live next door to me in the Treme, those folks told me this was when I was down there 2 weeks ago. This was their first time down there in probably about 8 years. They don't come down there, long as they money coming in. And now that they saying the property taxes are getting too high, guess what? They about to sell it. I guarantee you that house being sold is gonna make my property taxes go up even higher. They do this to try to squeeze you out of here. You have to go down as not just one person going down there yelling. You need to, like we did here in East Austin. We took 30 people down there, all of us with our property taxes in our hands, and say, you going to hear us out. And that's how they stopped doing the gentrification. Because if you don't say nothing, and if you're doing this stuff, cleaning up lots of stuff, and nobody from your city council is not coming down there to talk to you about, hey, look, you know, if you clean this up, there's still an opportunity for somebody else to get it. You just clean it up for free.
But how come nobody's
sad.
saying anything?
Because people are scared to talk. I have no idea. We all the stuff we've been through, and we scared to go to City Hall and tell these folks, you stealing our land. You squeezing us out. I do it all the time. I am not afraid of nobody. What you gonna do? Kick me out? That's about all you can do. I'm not gonna disrespect you or put my hands on you, but you're gonna be hurt. But you gotta have a group of people to go down there. The homeowners. You gotta look out for everybody else, because after they come for the people that's renting, they coming for you.
I was talking to a lady that has they have a very nice house, her and her husband. They own this huge house in Treme. It's actually on the cross street over there by Little Dizzy's. And they own that house. But she's like, I don't know if it's worth it anymore. I said, why you say that? And she said, come look. I said, okay. So she took me by the house. I followed her over there. And she said, come look at my windows. I said, oh, okay, cool. She said, you like the windows of the house? I said, yeah. She said, these are the original windows. I said, wow, that's nice. That's very nice. She said, I thought so too. Until the neighborhood association told me that I need to pay for getting those windows replaced because they don't do anything or they don't allow that type of window in the neighborhood. I said, but did you tell her those were the original windows that they? I said, how long they been here? She said, at least 30, 40 years. And she's telling me now, I said, is that a ploy? She said, I think so. I think that they don't like the fact that we're here and they want us to sell a house.
I'm telling you, Gerard, after Hurricane Katrina, people don't want to believe me when I tell them folks, they are hell-bent on turning New Orleans into a San Francisco-type place where it's so expensive that you cannot afford it, that you would rather move. And then once it hit your property value hit rock bottom, but your insurances and property taxes go up so high,
right?
You got to make a choice. How can I? It's a balancing act, but you have your city council can stop all this.
Right, but I'm wondering that's one of the issues that I'm having with this short-term rental issue, because I think the PR on short-term rentals has become the boogeyman. And with it being the boogeyman, it's making it sound like it's bad to have a short-term rental. But in my opinion, it's not bad to have a short-term or more short-term rentals. It's bad to have these companies that are coming in that got millions of dollars that ain't scared to buy 5 and 6 or 10 or 15 or 20 different lots or be able to buy these homes, fix them up, and charge astronomical fees for somebody to come in and rent them. There's always going to be somebody that comes to New Orleans and needs to rent something.
Gee, you just hit it on the spot right there. They don't want the local person like myself or you to be able to do Airbnb and short-term rental. Somehow somebody has made a deal with these companies from out of New York and California, and nobody won't say who it is, but these same companies, if you look around who's buying the properties, it's the same companies buying these folks' property, and city council ain't saying nothing. So I'm saying it now. Somebody on city council getting a kickback for this. Somebody has to be. Because if your citizen is constantly telling you that the rent is too daggone high, the insurance premiums, the property taxes, And not one person has said, you know what, this is my plan to bring down all of those things that I just named. Now, I didn't hear through not one campaign. That's from city council members.
Yep.
That's from one mayor. Nobody said
has
anything.
brought this up at all in city councils. So
and it's,
the economics of this city is begging for it, and I think it's right here in front of your face.
Yes, you, Brother Gerod, you got to go down there. I know. I think it's should be the second week in December. I should be coming down there. I'm going. Listen, I'm sick. I'm sick and tired of every year somehow my property tax has to go up. But I'm like, I'm not putting nothing different on the house.
Right.
And then they give you all these excuses of why it's going up. And then you look on down, up and down the street. Nobody has done anything besides put the house up for sale.
Yep, and see,
And
now,
I think
there
that's
you go right there. There it is. So here's where the other part is. And I had to have a long conversation with my real estate person because I was sitting back and going, huh? What? And this is what she taught me. She said, always pay attention to the houses that go up for sale in your neighborhood. I said, really? She said, yeah, because if you check that house and everybody's house in that neighborhood goes for sale for, let's say everybody's in a range about 250, 300, maybe 350, somewhere in that range. And that house that you're looking at sells for 500,000, your property tax going to go up.
Yep. See,
because now that MLS has put a new value on that home.
Yes, they telling folks right now in the Treme, selling price and buying price is like, I think selling is $330 and buying is $340. And you know, daggone well, not every house over there is worth that. Now you got some houses that they will sell you $150,000, $100,000, but trust me, you ain't gonna move up in there. You ain't gonna let nobody move up in there.
Nope.
But it's a company from New York or California that owns that. It's not the original owner. That's another thing. Black folks, stop selling your property. Do what you got to do. Stop trying to be with the Joneses. And if you got to ride around in a 1982 hoopty, keep that hoopty. You better, because you ain't going to have nowhere to live.
Property is so high in New Orleans right now that if you sell a house thinking that you're going to, because you paid for your property and you don't have a mortgage and you pay for your property and you sell your property for $350,000, somewhere between $300,000, $350,000, and you get that money, how much you think it's going to cost you to buy a new one?
$100,000 more.
Yep.
I guarantee you.
Yep.
It's crazy, but I'm telling you, Brother Gerod, if city council get off they behind, because you know they done went up to the state, they approved that $160 million today. Now they bragging about that like they did something. They still ain't said how they gonna pay it back.
Well, they're gonna sell the bonds. They're gonna sell those bonds. But my whole point to them, I really don't think that it is a good thing to brag about it. And the reason why is because we wouldn't be here if you all had done your job in the first place. We wouldn't even be here. This ain't your fault or my fault. This ain't nobody's fault except the folks that's supposed to have been looking over this daggone budget and making sure that they were within the realms of this budget. Then we wouldn't have been there in the first place.
I mean, G, I try to explain to folks, man, I've never seen nothing crazier in my life. You know, the core of the city council is coming back. The former president of the city council just moved to the mayor. Now, what's really going to change? Especially, and I'm telling you, especially with this housing situation. I'm telling you now, look, they already told me that my flood insurance, wind insurance, all that stuff is going to go up next year.
Wow.
I said there ain't been a damn storm in New Orleans in 20 years. The premiums. The premiums, man. They be killing me about them premiums, man. I said, but whatever, man. I'm not going to let you take it away from me.
You need
and
to
I'm
talk
not
to
sell
you need to talk to my girl Kasia from KFT Insurance. She knows the ins and outs and everything. She's helping a whole lot of people with their insurance, their flood insurance, their regular premiums. She's really helping out a lot of folks, and she got her own insurance agency.
Yeah, I'm definitely have to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Because talking to Miss Magoo down there at the tax place, I hope I give that woman an aneurysm. I ain't gonna lie. Got her crazy.
And you military, so you should be getting the good deals.
That's the crazy thing about it. With my military discount.
Really?
I'm like, it's so high right now. Everybody, even the house in Texas, my escrow was short $5,000 up here in this thing.
Good.
And I told him, I said, how can my escrow be short $5,000? They charging me for the flood that happened down there in near San Antonio.
Oh, well, you know what? That is true, and I ain't taking up for them, but I'm just giving you information. They're saying that the insurance network now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a network of insurance companies that are hung together by category of where you are. So if something happens in Florida, we have to pay for it too. If something happens in Alabama, we have to pay for it too, because the network of flood insurance, regular insurance, that network is Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, and I'm not sure, but parts of Texas, I think, are in there too.
Oh, probably that Houston from Beaumont to probably Houston.
Yep.
Probably that area up in there.
So when
anything on that Gulf Coast.
When we have those areas of New Orleans, and we be thinking that, oh Lord, we glad that it ain't hit us. Now that's one thing to think about, but be glad if it don't hit Houston, Texas, Dallas, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Be glad that it don't hit Alabama. Hopefully it don't hit there either, because your flood insurance or your regular insurance might go up because we in a network.
All right, brother. Thanks for taking my call. Have a good one,
All right,
brother.
Galloway.
All right.
All right, we got more coming up, y'all. Everybody hold tight.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by FidelityWealthManagement.com. The Magnificent Seven, led by NVIDIA, have been dominating conversations on Wall Street for a while now. But Black-owned and led Ariel Investments is finding value flying under the radar with smaller companies. Here's Ariel Investments founder, chairman, and CEO, John Rogers.
We're still finding ideas in the small value space. They really have been ignored. They're kind of the ugly ducklings when you compare it to NVIDIA and Apple and all these giant, exciting growth stories. The little mundane businesses that we've invested in for 42 years just seem particularly orphaned these days. So we're seeing great ideas and excited to be doing the research. I think there's real opportunity for small value.
Ariel Investments, John Rogers speaking to Bloomberg there. The firm's flagship Ariel Fund focuses entirely on small and mid-cap stocks. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Hi, I'm Leo Jackson, host of Sunday Gospel here every Sunday morning, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 o'clock till 2 p.m. You don't want to miss this move of God. It happens only on WBOK. You listen to all day long.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
In the lower nine, we waited long enough for empty promises. Cindy Wynn delivers. She's fought blight, brought housing, and helped small businesses rise again. Now her plan means safer streets, cleaner blocks, and real jobs right here at home. Cindy Wynn building a better east, starting with us in the lower Ninth Ward, paid for by the committee to elect Cindy Wynn.
Talk That Noel Education is all about awareness. Join me, Dr. Jakir Ross, from New Schools for New Orleans to learn about the impact of having black male educators inside and around public schools. Tune in for Talk That this Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks, welcome back. Don't forget, get in contact with me. Have this conversation, 504-582-9422. Right now, we need to talk to Kevin. What you say, Kevin? Kevin?
Oh, hey, yeah, Matt, it kind of sparked a thought in my head by talking about his experiences. And look, my story is always the same. It really doesn't change, no matter what you're talking about on this radio station. The bottom line is this. Either you learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it. Martin Luther King used this term before as it relates to the white community. He said, these people are the most dangerous people in the world is the willfully ignorant and the conscientiously stupid. I'm gonna use that to talk about black people, but really I'm talking about poor people. Okay, but since I'm talking about the black community, which affects me because I'm a part of the black community, I'm gonna use it to talk about what's gonna change the quality of my life as a black person in the face of that reality affecting everybody. Okay, so if we look, nobody is bound to respect us as people who think in an elevated and behave in an elevated manner if we don't do that. Okay, so until and we are. Basically we're insane, and I say we. You can say apply this to all poor people, but since I'm talking about black people, I'm gonna apply it to black people. We're insane, and we have disassociate disorder. What that means is we act like the world we live in is not the real world that's affecting us. Okay? So, and what I mean by that is this. If we continue to not learn from our history and not realize we are unique, we have a unique circumstance being black, which I don't believe in either because there's only human beings. There's no such thing as black and white human beings, but that's another story. The bottom line is if we don't realize we paint it in the corner of being black by people who have power to paint us in the corner. So considering that's the case, if we don't start acting like we're together, we disassociate like we're not together, and we are, and we don't start working together, I always talk about think tanks. And we have to start getting together and acting like we have elevated minds and behaving like we have elevated minds if we expect to have an elevated quality of life. There's no way around that, okay? And 400 years of history should probably convince the dumbest of us because the dumbest rednecks know that. I've worked with them, and they know that. They know they have a code how they treat us. period. Now, it's an unspoken code, but it still end up being the same. The dumbest redneck know you don't associate with blacks like they're normal, okay? Like your brothers and sisters who artificially white. So the bottom line is black folks don't start working together like they in the same reality. And we're talking about these prices. Look, if the contractors, the black contractors, just like the black slave when they freed them, they knew how to do stuff, so they was able to build cities because they was forced to learn these skills. If people, to he who much is given, much is expected. Okay, it's not just on these people I'm talking about; it's on all of us. Even if I don't know how to put a stick in the ground, it's still my responsibility to learn because we have to learn how to do whatever it is that we need to do. So, but I'm talking about the people who do know how to do it right now because they much have been given to them that they have skill sets. Okay, and we can expedite all this if those people get together with the people who have the same skill sets and collaborate with them and educate the ones who don't have the skill sets. And we can self-insure ourselves by not having insurance because we're willing to do what my grandfather and them did and help each other build their homes together, just like the slaves did. They help each other build things together. So they was outside of the system. In fact, that's what a lot of people, other minorities are doing in this country. That's why they don't want them here, because they come here and they have their own ecosystem. And it's working for them. And if you don't believe me, they pull themselves from nothing when they come here to be something. Now, you can say, well, they don't pay taxes and all that other stuff. But I know one thing, they work, no matter, I don't know what they don't do, what they aren't having to do, but I know one thing they do is they work together. Okay? So until we start, those who have the skill set start realizing, let me quit trying to rape everybody black economically. Let me start teaching my people how to do these things, and then start collaborating with think tanks on how we can do that without getting taken advantage of by our own people. Once you teach them to do something, they don't realize you have to pay that forward, or else it's not gonna. It's like what they call it, a pyramid system. If you don't pay it forward, it's gonna collapse. So the black community collapses. Everybody don't pay it forward. Okay, and now I say everybody. I'm talking about those people who are willing to do the work to create those collaborations. And guess what? We don't need everybody to do it because everybody loves a winner. Once people start seeing you successful at doing something, trust me, they're gonna want to do it.
Yep.
But we got to teach each other how we doing what we doing, or else we'll never be able to build a large enough pyramid scheme for working together to make it work.
All right, Kevin. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep. So, there is a, and I'm gonna go off of something that Kevin said, but I'm gonna go a little bit different. There's a group of guys that I know. I'm not going to call their names because I don't think they want everybody to know who they are, but I know them. I know each one of them personally. As a matter of fact, they called me a lot of stuff. They called me to what are they then, Gerard? They are guys that do concerts all over the country. But what they ended up doing, which I was proud of them, I just didn't have the money to do it at the time. But if I did, I would have got right up in there. Don't mean that I can't get in there. I probably should get in there and get me another career. Because I think that everybody should have more than one career. I didn't say job. I said career. Something else that you can do just in case this one fall off, and then you don't lose a beat. But anyway, the guys that I know, it's 4 of them. And they're all from different walks of life. One was in the music industry. One of them was a producer for a band. One of them was a record company executive. He used to work at a record company in a big office in New York. The other guy was a member of the band, and another guy is just, somebody that had some money, real estate guy. So all of them ended up working together. They knew of each other, but none of them had none of them had, that's my buddy, that's my man, that's my guy. There was a meeting that happened. And by chance, those guys ended up talking about doing music concerts all over the country. Wasn't hard to do. So let's say you want to do a concert. First thing you got to find is somebody that will sell you the rights to that concert. You just don't want to do one concert. And if you do one concert, you're going to get a taste of that money and you're going to want to do it again. So you find somebody that's willing to take a chance on you. Hopefully you got a relationship with these folks so that you'll know what you need to be able to pay for and the stuff that you don't want to get over with. There are so many different things that go along with putting a concert together. If I told you about it, you'd be like, what? So when we do concerts, I told you, when we do concerts, what you want to do is put together, and especially if you don't have a whole bunch of money. You ain't no Jay-Z. You're not one of those guys that got millions and millions of dollars. But you got a nice concert, and it's going to these different cities. Well, the first thing you want to do is be able to get a copy of the list of places where it's going. If I get a copy of the list dates of the concert going to Atlanta, but it's not coming here, but the next place it's going to is Houston, I'm interested as a promoter. Why is that? Because I see it skipping New Orleans. But if it's skipping New Orleans, I want to try to get it between the dates that it's in Atlanta and the dates that it's going to Houston. It's called a buy date. It's not planned on the original itinerary, but I want to be able to invest to make it come here. So with it not being on the itinerary, the cost of that concert coming to New Orleans is it reduces the cost because it's not planned. So I'm gonna try to make my deal. But a lot of folks don't understand. It ain't just you paying for them to come here. Man, you got so many things to pay for. You need an itinerary just to keep up, from insurance, the location, how much it's going to cost to bring that person. What do I need to secure the location to do the concert? How many people can I get in there? What's going to be the outcome? If I get the Superdome and I got an artist that can't fill the Superdome, then I'm going to lose money. If I got the arena, the Lakefront Arena, and I got an artist that's going to pack that Lakefront Arena, then I'm going to create a need for those tickets. Everybody going to want them tickets, and them tickets going to be sky high. So I'm thinking about how we do this to bring something to New Orleans. But what you got is outside companies that are doing these deals. How you think that Taylor Swift came here? You think somebody locally brought her? Or was it an outside company? And how much did she make on her tour? Her tour guaranteed that by the time she finished and they took her all over the world, that she would be a billionaire. And she is. Same thing with Beyonce. Could I get into that? No, more than likely not, because I wouldn't have the money. They don't need me. They're not looking at sharing that. But let's say you create a group of guys like I was talking about, they got together, pooled their money, and said, let's get us an agent that can find us some concerts that we can bring all over the world. You heard of them. You just don't know that's who I'm talking about. And they don't call their names individually. Well, what they call themselves, the Black Collective. That's exactly how it started. They just got together and pooled their money. Now, why are you talking about concerts and stuff like that? Imagine, and I use that as an example, but imagine if you got a group of folks, don't have to be just the men could be women too. Just imagine if you got a group of men or women that have what? $10,000, $20,000 extra. And y'all got a CPA. And I ain't talking about somebody that you know or that I know. I'm talking about a legal CPA that can count your money, make sure that it's in a area. You can't pull out. You pull out, you're going to blow your deals. So y'all need to talk. That's why I said I was going to kind of say something that Kevin usually says. Y'all need to talk. See if you can get along with that person. You ain't the boss, and neither is this person. The CPA is more than likely the boss. And see, can they open up a bank account? You got 4 people. Everybody need to have $10,000. Now I got $40,000 that I'm going to put up in your bank. I'm going to say, yeah, $40,000 that I'm going to put in your bank. But I'm going to this bank and I want to borrow a couple of $100,000 because I want to daggone buy some properties. I want to buy some properties. I need a construction loan. I need to do this. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm just making up numbers here. This is not how this always works. It can work that way, but I'm putting $40,000 collateral in your bank. Yeah, you're going to give me a loan. But I'm part now of that. I'm a part of that collective. We're going to build us some properties. And we're going to see all that money now going back into that property on your $10,000. I want to talk to that CPA about how much money can we make to be able to pay the property tax, to be able to pay the taxes, or better yet, the person that rents that property, they pay the tax. What's going to be my insurance costs? All this goes into the equation. And imagine if you're making enough money per month, you can actually get you a dividend from your own money per month or per week. But I would like to get a group of folks together that would wait until we've got us a great big old gunk of money just sitting there and establish the group as being sound financially by just your $10,000. Now, can you find somebody that got $10,000? Absolutely. $10,000 ain't a whole lot of money. And I'm not trying to make it sound like I got 10, 20, 30, because no. It don't work that way. But there are plenty of folks out here that got $10,000 that they want to do something with it. And it's a whole lot better than just buying another car so that you can ride down old raggedy streets and tear it up because they're only going to depreciate. Buy some property. Oh, and I got something to tell you too. I'm going to tell you. Remember when I was complaining about the streets over by where I live in Lakeview? I told you that they get them fixed. Remember when we was on the air and I told you, I said, Lakeview over there by Harrison Avenue, And they was da-da-da, and I was going off on them. They fixing the street.
And Lakeview is like an obstacle course. You gotta know how. Harrison.
Bro. They are fixing Harrison. They done shut down the lanes on Harrison.
They need to fix what you call it too.
They fixing them right
West
now.
End Boulevard.
Right, they fixing them right now.
Right before Harrison. Boy, that sucker, yeah. Woo.
They gonna fix them too. Don't hate.
I ain't hate. Just fix the stuff in the east, damn it.
More coming up, y'all. We'll wrap up the show in a minute.
AURN News.
This morning, House Democrats releasing emails from Jeffrey Epstein's estate that are pulling Trump's name right back into the headlines. In one message from 2011, Epstein tells a friend that dog that hasn't barked is Trump, meaning Trump's name hasn't come up publicly, even though Epstein says a victim spent hours at his house with Trump but was never mentioned. Another email from 2019 has Epstein talking about Trump's club, Mar-a-Lago. He says Trump asked him to resign from the club and adds that Trump knew about the girls at his parties and even told Ghislaine Maxwell to stop. In a third message, Epstein is trading emails with author Michael Wolff about how Trump should answer questions about their relationship, basically strategizing about what to say if pressed by the media. The details are raising questions about who knew what, who was protecting who. For now, Trump hasn't been charged with anything connected to Epstein. For AURN News, I'm Ebony McMorris.
It's off the top with Norman Robinson on WBOK 1230 AM.
I've talked about Governor Jeff Landry's boneheaded attempt to wrest control of the city of New Orleans' finances. Now I must talk about Governor Landry's misguided recommendation that the state's flagship university honor the memory of the late ultra-conservative Republican Charlie Kirk. It is a suggestion that has left me bewildered and confused. The governor is suffering from a lagging approval rating of just 39% in the recent polls. This seems to be a desperate power play for attention and is a far reach. Landry says he wants a statue erected of Kirk in honor of his devotion to freedom of speech. An editorial by MSNBC framed the move by Governor Landry this way, quote, "A monument to Kirk, who was assassinated while speaking at Utah Valley University on September 10th, could be seen as a tribute to the importance of free speech on the campus where he was wrongly killed. But the Louisiana governor's push to have a statue installed at a university where Kirk never studied and in a state where he never lived is a blatant play for attention by a politician with a plummeting approval rating. The move also doubles as a textbook illustration of the way obnoxious monuments, such as the ones honoring Confederate leaders, ended up in some places those leaders never set foot in, and in some places where no Civil War battles were ever fought. Arguing that Kirk was a champion of free speech borders on hyperbole to me. Eli Mistel of Nation News put it this way: when he wrote that Charlie Kirk's speech were meant to outrage, not to enrich. Kirk was known to utter words that disparaged blacks, Jews, and Latinos, insinuating that blacks are unqualified and intellectually suspect, that Jews are ruining the country by funding Marxist agendas, and that Latinos are attempting to replace whites. He also suggested that gays should be stoned. Does this sound like a man who should be honored with a statue? I think not. It's true that under the Constitution one has the right to say what one wishes. It's equally true that such speech is inaccurate, cruel, hurtful, and divisive. Such speech from a man who prided himself as a devout Christian gives me great pause. My friend and colleague Jarvis DeBerry summed it up best in a recent column, saying, quote, "Kirk should not have been killed. On that, all Christians ought to agree. But to argue that he should be praised is to suggest that racism and the Christian faith are compatible. And who really wants to be on the record arguing that?" This is Norman Robinson off the top.
Hey, this is Steve Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday evening at 5 p.m., bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South, right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
You've got responsibilities, but that doesn't mean your dreams are on hold. At Southern University at New Orleans, our evening and weekend college is designed with your life in mind. Finish your degree, start a new one, on your time, your degree, your schedule. No excuses, just opportunity. Visit suno.edu and make your next move today.
Meet Leanna, a part-time chef and full-time mom. In the past, Leanna didn't have health insurance because she didn't think she could afford it. What she didn't realize is she qualified for Medicaid. She loves the coverage and peace of mind that comes with high-quality care. The kind of care you get with Healthy Blue. This is Medicaid, and it's for more people than you think. Maybe even you. To see if you qualify, go to myhealthybluela.com.
New Orleans, this is Councilman Freddie King III. This holiday season, we're inspiring the city by giving back with our annual Inspire the City turkey and ham giveaway.
And this is Kim Charbonnet of the Sixth Ward Steppers. Please join us on Tuesday, November 25th at Alice Hart Charter School at 10 a.m., and then we'll be at Mahalia Jackson Theater for 2.
Each vehicle will receive a turkey or ham, a perishable food package, and limited gas cards will be available while supplies last.
We're coming together to make sure families across New Orleans feel the love this Thanksgiving.
Because when we come together, we inspire the city.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Stove, Pastor David Impartan Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
When you talk, we listen. WBOK. Here we go. The reality check on WBOK 1230 AM.
All right, folks. A few minutes before we get out of here, I did this on yesterday. I'm going to do it again on today because I got a chance to go see this movie. And I was promoting it yesterday because I think it's important that a lot of us don't forget our history. And this movie is inspiring, especially to our kids as well. But the name of the movie is Sarah's Oil. I have not seen it promoted. I don't know if you all have. I don't know if you saw the trailer somewhere or something of that sort. But I'll be the biggest promoter of it on today. It's about a little girl. Her name is Sarah Rector. That ended up being a multimillionaire because she was given some oil, land, because of the fact of her birthright and who she was. She was an American oil magnate by the time that she was, 12? If that high. Because on her land was a lot of oil, and they didn't know. They used to call her the richest colored girl in the world. And these big companies were ready to kill her because they wanted to take the deed to the land. And I'm telling you, if you get a chance, please go see this. Please go see it. It is a true story. It is a true story. And it talks about what we went through back in the day when we were getting ready to come into some money and how folks would be acting and how they treated us back in those days. And this little girl was definitely on the right track. She knew what she was going to do. Brilliant. Brilliant, too. So, the young lady that plays Sarah Rector as a child, her name is Nia Johnson. and the other one will be Bert Smith. That's who he plays, Bert Smith. That would be Zachary Levi. He's interesting too. But I think that everybody, if you get a chance, you should go see this movie. It's playing out AMC. It's called Sarah's Oil. And for those of you that live in the Ninth Ward, it would be Sarah's or Earl. It'd be Sarah's Earl. I'm sorry. Y'all go get me for that, right? But I think that everybody should go see this movie. It is true. It is a true movie. And the executive producers of this through their production company is Russell Wilson and Sierra. They saw it and they wanted to make sure that it was out there. So please, I'm just saying. Y'all know I don't be out here promoting no movies, but I'm telling you on this one, you got to go see it. Make it a point to go see it, and it show early. I don't think it's it might be a 9 o'clock somewhere, but it's usually 5, 6 o'clock. 5, 6. I think one last night was 7:45. 7:45. You can go see it. So make it a point to go see it. And those of you that do, make sure you call me and let me know you went to go see it. I thought it was a beautiful movie. And take the kids. It is kid worthy. It is kid worthy. Yes, there's some violence, but it's not going to be violence enough that it's going to be happening all the way through. All right? Go see it. I guarantee you'll call me and tell me, thanks for telling me to go see this movie. All right, folks, that's going to wrap things up for me. I appreciate everybody for being a part of the conversation. Arnie and Carrie coming up next. And the best of? Okay, the best of. So make sure you check it out. We'll be back on tomorrow. Y'all have a good rest of the evening. Be careful.
WBOK. Online at WBOK1230.com.
Whoa, oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be now. Where did all the blue skies go? Poison is the wind that blows from the north and south and east. Whoa, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be now. Oil wasted on the oceans and upon our seas, fish full of mercury. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. No. Radiation underground and in the sky. Animals and birds who live nearby are alive. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. What about this overcrowded land? How much more we use from men? Can't you stand that?
Have you heard the secret of what New Orleans is talking about? I promise everything will be okay if you're listening here on the airwaves. It's that WBOK 12:30 a.m.
From the campus of Xavier University, WBOK Go, an Equity Media Station.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. An Army gynecologist at Fort Hood in Texas is accused of secretly recording women during exams. In an exclusive interview with NBC, the Jane Doe has a message for Army leaders.
Shame on you for letting this happen. Shame on you for not taking action.
A lawsuit claims Dr. Blaine McGraw exploited patients. He's been suspended while the Army investigates. Chicago aldermen want more solutions for the city's billion-dollar deficit. They're urging Black Mayor Brandon Johnson to dig deeper into an EY consultant's report. Johnson says he's open to ideas but defends his corporate tax plan, calling on big companies to pay their fair share. And iHeartMedia and TikTok are teaming up for a first-of-its-kind partnership, launching TikTok Radio and a new podcast network with up to 25 creator-hosted shows. The deal also includes live events. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily express the views or opinions of Equity Media, its management, staff, or affiliates of WBOK 1230.
And now for the best of. Let's Elevate with Arnie Filco and Cary Grant.
It's now time for Let's Elevate, the Arnie and Cary Show with Arnie Filco and Cary Grant.
All right. Hello, New Orleans. Back online with you in Elevated Conversations. This is Arnie Filco.
And this is Cary Grant.
And
Good evening.
We are back together in studio, which makes it much more fun and easier to communicate versus one being on phone and another being in studio. And, man, I was saying, this is the first time I've been in studio in about a week.
Yeah.
It is so dark. I mean, outside, it's like, first of all, city, we need the bond referendum passed because we need new lights here outside of the Xavier campus.
We need lights in a lot of places, but this, as I said last night, I mean, I'm one of those people. Let's just pick a time and keep going with it because this change is really bizarre.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really dark out.
Yeah, it is. It's pitch black, and I'm looking out the window right now outside the street, and I mean, other than headlights of cars, you can't see anything.
And it's so different because just a few weeks ago, before the time changed, I mean, you could look out. It was really daylight. You could see outside, but
I feel bad for the students and kids that have after school activities.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you're out practicing football, now you're practicing dark practice.
Yeah. Well, seems like the Saints have been practicing that way for a while, but maybe. I won't go there. They made two trades, as we talked about last night.
Yeah,
and
I'm still mad at them.
They did. You know what we said though? It was a must game for the Pels last night.
Yes,
and they came through and they won.
And the thing that I like was, I don't know how to say the guy's last name, but I'm really liking this center guy, the guy from Europe, Carlo something. He's really good, and it was good to see Jose play and win a game and all that. I mean, it was good for the whole team, but it's good to see some of those players who have been reliable for the last couple of years show that they still have it. I mean, I think we still are okay, but I think we need to just gel and get our act together more than anything else.
Well, they're back on the road now for a few games, and I think they play tonight against Dallas.
Yes. Anything, just beat up on Anthony Davis, and that'll make me happy.
He's out, I think.
Well,
wasn't he?
That's true. Yeah, he's always out. So,
and they don't have Luke. They don't have Luke anymore. He's on the West Coast in Hollywood.
And Kyrie's out for the year. So this might be one you can get
a winning. Are you suggesting a 2-game winning streak?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All
Why
right.
not? Why not?
Hey, we'd love to hear from you tonight. 504-582-9422. It seems like for the last 2 weeks, every show we start, and this is not going to be any different, we start with the New Orleans city budget.
Yes.
But I think we got some good news to share with everybody. As people remembered a week ago, the city council wanted to resolve its payroll issue. This is not the $160 million. This is the payroll issue to pay staff through the end of the year.
Yeah.
And this council was proposing a $120 million revenue bond sale.
Right.
That would be able to take care of payroll for the last 2 months of the year. And I think they thought it would probably go through fairly easily. Well, it didn't, because our state government, our governor, our attorney general said, hold on, yeah, we might be able to lend some or to provide some of that funding, but we want to have basically a fiscal agent, in City Hall watching what's going on. And, oh, by the way, we're not going to give you a timeline when it's
right for an indefinite period of time.
Yeah.
So even if you resolve your issues, that person could still be there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the city council and Mayor-elect Moreno at the time a week ago said, no, we're not doing that. We'll look at other ways to find money. And we predicted a week ago that all was not dead yet. And indeed, all was not dead, because the mayor-elect, the council president, council budget chair all went up to Baton Rouge today. They met with some of the state leadership, the head of the House, the head of the Senate, representatives of the governor's office, although he wasn't there.
Right.
And, after the meeting, there was some media comments by our city officials, and it was pretty optimistic. I mean, if you read between the lines, it sounds like a deal is there to be made.
Yeah.
The city council assured the state that the financial protections that the state needs to know, the biggest being that there would be a segregated account where this money would be put into, and it could only be used for payroll.
Right.
And that's and it'll be overseen by the state legislative auditor.
Right.
And the state withdrew its demand for, a fiscal agent and somebody that would be there full time. So, what will happen next is tomorrow, the city council has an ordinance that'll be passing to create this segregated bank account, basically.
Yeah.
And they, according to some of the comments I heard, there's a few tweaks and amendments in the ordinance that'll be made.
Yeah.
That'll get passed. And then that will allow us to go to the bond commission next week,
right,
to be able to get approval for these revenue bonds, which, and the other thing is, it was made pretty clear they're not going to be able to do it all through these revenue bonds. They are going to have to dip into some of the reserve funds as well.
Yeah, the issue is, and as we say every day practically, there's different numbers, different time frames and all that. But the last thing that was mentioned was that the payroll money available for payroll lasted through about November 12th, which first off doesn't make any sense to me because that's a Wednesday. But so say through the next payroll. So that is next week. So the issue of the gap between the time of bond commission approval and going to a bank and having these revenue bonds done maybe another few weeks after that. So going into the reserve is probably the absolute proper thing to do to keep the flow of the money going through.
Right.
And the money will become available as soon as a bank takes on this revenue bond. And I think that, like the Foley and Dugel people said, there's a bank that was interested in doing this before for the city, and they're interested in doing this now. So once these approvals happen, it's just a process. So that's good. That means we won't be talking about this January 1st that, somebody's still looking at this or that type of thing.
No, that should hopefully.
So hopefully we can make all these little pieces and parts work.
And I think a couple things, it by virtue of having this other source now with the state, you don't have to go and take the entire $45 million of the reserve fund.
That's what I meant.
You take a piece of it,
yes,
and then it would be replenished. And brought back to where it is right now, which is important because we're at a low stage even at the $45 million.
Well, the thing about this too is let's get to zero, and I'm going to talk about another piece of this, but let's get to zero at some point where we're not looking for cash and we're not looking for new revenues, because anything over that can go into that reserve fund. So we can start building that fund back. And people have to understand, even if we came out at the end of the year, once all the revenues are collected, once all this is straightened out, and we came out with $1 million, that $1 million would go into that fund. So, I mean, that's what I'm hoping is that as we get closer to the end, and the books aren't closed with the city until February or March. So there's still a lot of things that need to be accounted for. If some of these other things like sewage and water board funds come in or whatever, I mean, whatever those things are that now people are really pursuing, those can help to replenish that and make it larger than it was. So that's the good news on this part. One thing I do want to talk about is people keep saying, and I see this everywhere I go, but people keep saying, where did the money go? Like the money was stolen or something like that. People have to understand that the expenses are what the expenses are. The revenues are lower than the expenses, and that's why we have this issue. It's not because somebody took the money. All the money that's been collected has been practically spent.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just one of those misnomers that's out there. And I don't want people to think that here's 125, somebody's going to put their hands on that too.
Well, people have somewhat simplified the issue. They've said, all right, we got a $160 million deficit.
Right.
We know 40 of that came because of the overtime issue.
Yeah.
All right, so there's 120 million. Where's the 120?
Yeah.
And you're right. It's a combination of many things. I mean, overspending in certain areas and not sufficient revenues as they had originally projected.
Right.
And when you put kind of both of those categories together, that's how you get to what
creates a huge hole.
Yeah, exactly.
And as we've talked about before, another thing that we are on the line for is there's several multi-millions of funding for FEMA projects and JIRR projects, they call them, that is a reimbursable from the feds. That some of that is tied up in this government shutdown. A lot of money is at the state because the way FEMA really works is they appropriate to the states, but the state can't release it.
Right.
So some of that could potentially go back into these coffers.
Right.
So
right.
If we can get these things all done, then we can see where we really are.
I mean, there are definitely sources of revenue out there.
Yeah.
Whether it be sewage and water board, whether it be FEMA reimbursement.
Yeah.
You know, there was an interesting article probably 3-4 days ago where our current CAO, Joe Thread, said, you know, here's what's happening with the FEMA money. I had requested this.
Right.
You know, we got this answer. And, you know, some of this is simply cash flow, okay?
Yeah.
It is, we don't have the actual cash in hand yet. It's coming, okay? But you can't use it's coming when you have to write a check for payroll. I mean, in any business or government.
Exactly. And that's why we're saying about the replenishment of the funds, because as those things come in, and these revenue bonds are a drawdown. So you just draw down what you really need. And that's what you have to replenish. It's up to 125. If you don't use 125, you don't have to pay back 125.
Right.
You only have to pay back what you owe, and that may be covered by some of these other
Let me
things.
ask you a question, because for those that don't know it, and by now, I mean, we're lucky. I'm lucky to co-host, and WBOK is lucky to have Kerry here, because he really was the financial guru for 4 decades.
What I hear.
Okay, but a question that I keep asking.
Yeah.
When they ask about responsibility. Okay, obviously there's the administration has responsibility. As it relates to the council, I want to ask a question, because this overtime issue, you know, people think that there's like a line item for overtime.
There is.
And but my question is, isn't in each department, when they do personnel services and such, does it actually break out overtime in like 40 different departments?
Yes.
And that's, if you added all of that together, you would get to get to 40 million.
It's why that's the 40 million expense. The line
that wasn't in there.
The line item that you're seeing, the 57,000, the 40 something thousand,
right?
That is the line item. That's the only portion of overtime that's in the 2025 budget.
And
but
then
the expenditures come in that line item.
Where is that? I mean, is it in the NOPD department budget? Is it in
the 45,000?
Well, yeah, let's use, because that's what they budgeted is 45,000.
There are line items in every department. The budget is formulated from the person on up. The way that, and I did this for a living, it starts out from a personnel cost of Arnie Felko's a council member, your salary's this, your benefits of that. All of that is calculated by our computers. It rolls up. So in a departmental budget, when you get to the departmental level, even the org code level, which is what defines the different areas of a department. Like in police, there's an administrative office. There's a FOP, which is the field operations section of it, where all our officers are. So there's line items that roll up. So there's a line item, 1010 is salaries, 1020 is overtime. And that's in every department. So it doesn't necessarily mean it is budgeted in every department or in every line. But if it's budgeted, it would show.
I understand, but I think the question I'm asking, I mean, obviously there was a complete error made to only have 45,000.
Yes.
But my question is, for those that are reviewing it, because the mayor presented that budget October 1.
Yes.
For those that are reviewing it, which is largely at the beginning staff members of the council.
Sure.
They would have to actually go through each of the 40 departments and say, all right, Department A, you got 2,000 in overtime. Department B, you got 2,000. And then they would total all of that.
Well, it's total for you. I mean, the reporting is at every level. I'm just saying.
So here's what I guess.
There's citywide reporting. There's departmental reporting. There's so many reports.
All right, so here's what I'm asking, Kerry.
Yes,
is from the administration, because the CEO and the mayor, they know what they're presenting. So they knew there was only 45,000 overtime.
There's no way they
How
would know that.
easy would it have been for the council when they did budget hearings for somebody to say, wait a second, there's only 45,000 amongst all of the departments?
I will say it like this, and I've been talking about this to people for a long time now. The way that the reports were given to you guys and when we were doing it as I left in 2020, all of that information was provided to a level where a person could look at it at the citywide level and see 57,000 citywide. You could look every department and see what every department had. The presentations that the departments do are literally at a 30,000 foot level. The thing that they bring to the council is at a it's literally all personal services, all other operations. If you're looking at just that, you are not going to see what I'm talking
that's
about.
what I'm asking.
I'm saying.
And the same would apply for some of the watchdog groups, like CBNO, which is a budgetary group.
If you don't get the detailed line item
you
reports,
wouldn't know it.
You would not know that. I'm saying you should have that. You should request that. That should be what we provided so much stuff to the council and the council fiscal staff. I mean, it was reams and reams of stuff, and then it became computer files. I mean, so I don't know how this works now is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That I can't speak for what's happened over the last 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, look, the one of the things the council did last week in its set of ordinances is it has made a request from the finance director every month, much more detailed than they've ever had before. Yeah. That's going to be good. I mean,
absolutely.
Whoever chairs budget for the council going forward here, that's going to help.
And system-wide, that should be nothing to produce. I mean, it shouldn't be a big deal to produce any of it. Slice it and dice it, as we used to call it, any way that the guys want to see it. Once you look at it, you'll say, I'd rather see it this way, or I'd rather see it that way. All of that should be able to be done.
Yeah.
You know, you can do ad hoc reports, we call them, so it should be available. But all I'm saying to you is there's a lot of responsibility to go around, but this information should have been up front in the beginning. And the other part of it is, even if I hadn't given you a report, you know how it was when you were there, I would have told you that inside this budget, this was the only amount we had, and it was because of this, and this was our resolution of it. Yeah. And I don't think that conversation happened either.
And just for people that may not know inside baseball here, what the 7 council members have, I had a huge book.
Yes.
And I had chapters in it.
Yes.
And each chapter was a different department.
Right.
And when the person came to testify, we would open that section.
Right.
And again, these council members I have to tell you, and it was difficult. It's hard for you guys on the administrative side.
Absolutely.
But from the legislative side, you're doing 3-4 weeks of hearings, doing 5 or 6 departments every day.
Yeah.
It's hard stuff. It's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not. And some people, like I said, some people are more detail oriented and want to get deep down into the weeds of the numbers. You can do it that way. You can do it from a 30,000 foot level.
You can, yeah.
But I think the real issue I have is you have to have people who are really, like in my role, who are describing to you exactly what you're looking at and telling you what the pitfalls, what the good things are, what the bad. All I'm hearing now today, and it's not a fault to anybody who's there. I'm talking about the 2026, but it's people talking about what their cuts are, which is important.
Yeah.
But you have to tell what the gist of it is.
Yeah, no question. Well, today is probably a good day. I think it predicts something positive next week.
Sure.
We can hopefully get by the payroll issue. You know, the budget issues already, the $160 million has already been kind of put into the system.
Right.
And really the focus is going to be 2026 and what this next budget will be.
You're
so,
right.
all right, we'll be back in a minute. Again, we'd
back.
love to hear from you, 504-582-9422. We're going to move into the election results from last night.
Yes.
Kind of an ordinance that hasn't been talked about very much. And Carrie wants to talk about Hogan's Heroes. So come back in a minute, and we're going to talk about Colonel Schultz, right?
Sergeant Schultz.
Sergeant Schultz. We'll be back in a second.
Get in on the conversation at 504-582-9422.
My name is Armand Gillespie.
And this is Philip Thomas.
And we are the Balled Online podcast, where we cover all the major sports topics. But today, we come to you all to talk about a more serious topic.
Suicide prevention. A little less than a week ago, a young, talented football player named Marshawn Nealon took his life after scoring his first NFL touchdown.
We stressed the importance of life and how precious every person is. We on Balled Online Podcast hope, if you're ever going through anything, to please reach out to a loved one.
And if you think you have no one to turn to, please call 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Remember, you are loved and cherished in every possible way.
Peace and always love from us. And remember, ball don't lie. Peace.
Psst, come close. No, closer. Have you heard about the new blues show? It's the Blues Buffet with Jay Boogie, serving up all the blues you love to listen to.
Hey, New Orleans, it's Jay Boogie inviting you to join me for the Blues Buffet, the best soul blues mix on the planet. Happening Saturday night at 9 o'clock, right here at 12:30 a.m. WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
Hey, WBOK family, Ron Richardson here, host of Conversations with Ron Richardson. Join me this Saturday live, November 15th, 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. as I welcome CEO of Crescent City Addiction and Recovery, Mr. Anthony Thomas. And we'll be discussing all the different programs that Crescent City Addiction and Recovery has to offer those who are suffering with addiction. This is an interview that you don't want to miss. Please tune in, and thanks for your continued love and support.
I'm David Patan Sr., owner of Whole Water and Food Over Medicine Academy, coach, consultant, and instructor. We're excited about our 21-day challenge. Stop, prevent, and reverse disease today. Cholesterol, diabetes type 2, high blood pressure, along with chronic illnesses and diseases. We believe that the gift of wellness is the greatest gift, and for $30 per month, $1 a day, you could have this gift for you and your family.
I'm Phyllis Washington, and I've benefited with health and weight loss.
For your gift of $30, healing and wellness can be yours. Call 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. The Whole Water Store. See you at 2135 Washington Avenue today.
WBOK, online at WBOK1230.com.
You are listening to the best of Let's Elevate with Arnie Philco and Cary Grant.
The Arnie and Cary Show with Arnie Philco and Cary Grant.
All right, we're back. We're having some fun in between or during commercials here. We were reminiscing about old TV shows, and we were talking Hogan's Heroes. Right?
And I was telling Arnie that one of these politicians who happens to be from Louisiana reminds me a lot of Sergeant Schultz. And for the younger people and people who might remember the show, Schultz's famous saying was, "I know nothing, I see nothing, I hear nothing." No matter what was going on with the prison camp where these guys basically ran the prison camp. And it reminds me so much of Mike Johnson. Every time he is asked a direct question about something, like the elections last night, I didn't know they had elections. Right. It's really
or getting rid of the filibuster.
Right.
They asked him the other day, and he was like, "Well, that's That's a Senate issue, not a House issue.
Right.
And it was like, all right, I see nothing. I know
hear
nothing. Call Chuck Schumer and let him deal with it.
Right.
And that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
By the way, I told Carrie, I saw this show a couple nights ago called House of Dynamite.
Yes.
And if you haven't seen it,
It's
go
on
and
Netflix.
see it. It's on
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
And it's about a potential ballistic missile attack against the United States.
Right.
And all of the defense systems that we have that we've spent, tens of billions of dollars.
Right.
And the show basically kind of ends with the idea that, one of those missiles could get through.
Yeah.
And the reality is, from some of the stuff that's been written about it, is, I don't know how accurate this is, but experts have said this, is really we have about a 61% success rate.
Yes.
If North Korea or Russia, God forbid, ever launched a nuclear ballistic missile against the U.S.
Right. It's like shooting a bullet with a bullet. It's really
That's right.
not.
That was
it's
one
really,
of the sub-chapters.
I've read about it before, and it's really scientifically, it's really a physics problem.
Yeah.
And it's not, this whole thing about golden domes and all these defense systems. We saw it recently in the Middle East where they had the same thing. And things would get through. I mean, it's just, there's not enough of them either.
There's not enough. Israel has, Israel and the U.S. probably have the two most sophisticated systems. But even in Israel, you saw missiles get through.
Yeah.
And not a lot, not 40%, but maybe 10%. I will tell you, I saw it, kind of somewhat firsthand in Ukraine. It's scary as hell.
Yeah.
And they don't have
that
the civil
system,
systems
right.
yet, to protect them. And but in any event, for anybody interested, it's a 2-hour movie. It's very interesting.
It's very, very interesting about the workings of how the levels of command and control work in America. And it's really, really interesting about that part and how some things are literally people making phone calls and some things are very sophisticated. Right. And I think most of it's pretty accurate.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing that pops up is, you think about U.S. government and White House and you see the president in Oval Office. I mean, there's hundreds of people
involved
in the building that are working on different things. And then all of these facilities, again, I don't know if this was fiction or not fiction, but centers in Alaska, and in Colorado, and other places.
Yeah.
It's a very. I will tell you, this is what I took away from it. You better have a damn good president that when the time comes, and he's got to decide what to do,
right?
Either offensively or defensively.
In the event of any kind of attack, because this is sort of based on what happened with the 9/11 issues, and it was very similar to that in a lot of ways. So it's all about how lack of information, and in some instances, I thought it was very good, and it portrayed the president as being on the move, but really not having as much information or things available to him as other people did who were under him.
Right, exactly.
But he had the final decision.
Yeah, and they're trying, what staff is trying to do is to basically summarize it.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Look, no president is really going to be a total expert. That's why you have generals and everything in the command.
Right.
He's got to be able to very quickly synthesize all of the information and then make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very good. Very well done.
So we alluded to the filibuster.
Yes.
I mean, just want to spend a minute on that. This was raised by President Trump the other day. He basically said, we ought to do the nuclear option, get rid of the filibuster and 51 votes in the Senate will carry the day. And it was pretty interesting to watch pretty much everybody, Democrats, Republicans, say, no, that's maybe not such a good idea.
No. And I think that for him, it's just, and it's still, like you said earlier, it's still him pushing all the cards that he's helped create into other people's hands to resolve. So even if they did that, which they won't do it, but it would still be on all of the Republican senators to take all the heat for whatever happens, whatever they pay. And then he would run through them with all kinds of crazy ideas and say, pass this too, pass that too. And I don't think anybody wants to give up the power of how you can help control things.
Yeah. I mean, it still is the one checks and balances we have in the legislative branch, that you have to get 60 votes to pass significant legislation. And, while that may favor the Democrats now, it's more, very possible in a few years
it would be
favor
the
the
other way around.
Republicans.
Yeah.
And I think both sides are cognizant of that and just said, I think that's probably not something to start changing.
And the other thing, because last night is like a canary in the coal mine for the Republicans. I mean, they saw a mini blue wave of backlash to their policies and a lot of things that are going on. And as he said, I mean, people were getting killed because of the shutdown. Well, you are getting killed because of the shutdown and a lot of other stuff. So, that tells me that there's a political needle moving at this point where they are really afraid. And they should be, because the constituent, every county in Virginia, I believe it was, somewhere like that, went blue. Yeah. It was like, it was the first time in a long time.
Yeah. Including an attorney general who won, who candidly was pretty controversial.
Yes.
I mean, this is a guy that made some statements about killing his opponents and their children. And I mean, really vile stuff, to be honest, that should never be said. But he won.
Yeah.
And, and I think what people, especially in Virginia, people got to realize Virginia's a very interesting state because you've got the southern part of Virginia, which is fairly conservative and traditional. But in northern Virginia, you're literally a suburb of Washington.
Yeah, and
a lot of federal employees.
And I was just there recently, and it's really interesting watching some of the commercials and that. I was just there a few weeks ago, and I'm telling you, the way that they are being hurt by the job losses from Doge and all, they are not happy in that state. That those issues are so real in Maryland and Virginia right now. They're nothing we can even relate to because of so many jobs being lost, so many people, having a real problem because they had permanent employment and they're out. I mean, it's really bad.
It is really bad.
Really
I have a dear friend who was a senior person in the State Department and got let go in the Doge movement.
Yeah.
That person is having a very hard time finding a job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, these diplomatic jobs is that they don't just grow on trees.
Right.
And really, real people are being hurt by that. I have to tell you, the president, to me, he's got a lot of bravado and everything. There was some cracks in the armor the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah,
the Supreme Court was not happy with his tariffs today.
Well, and we're gonna see what the ruling comes down.
I was really shocked today to hear Amy Coney Barrett, who's from
New Orleans.
Some of the questions she was asking sounded like she was saying this is not something a president is supposed to be doing. So it sounded like they're going away from that.
Well, and I'm going to cite 3 examples. First of all, if you remember, the president got very upset with Canada. And in part it was because the premier of Ontario ran this TV ad with President Reagan saying, I don't like tariffs and all that. Well, Trump got so frustrated with that, and he basically went to the prime minister and said, I'm putting tariffs back on you. So obviously you hit a nerve. But the other 2 things were in his press conference this morning, he said, we got hurt last night and we got beat because of the government shutdown.
Yeah.
And it was like for the last couple of weeks, the whole thing has been, what's the Democrats causing the shutdown?
Right.
So he backtracked on that. And then the one that was crazy, he did an interview with 60 Minutes on Sunday.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was, why did you pardon this certain person?
Yes.
Who sounds like a horrendous person.
The Bitcoin guy.
Yeah, a Bitcoin guy, but he's supporting terrorism.
He's really something. Yeah.
And the president said, well, wait, who? I don't know who you're talking about.
Right.
But you pardoned the guy.
Right. Which scares you because your family has company business with him. And like you said, this guy's a heinous guy. And you seem to not know, and then you say, Biden was lost, but if you really don't know, that's even scarier.
Yeah, no, it was just like, I don't know. It's
a lot going on out there.
There's a lot going on. I'll give him the benefit of many things in the world happening all at once. Last night was really interesting, though.
I think so.
I'm going to just say this. I don't think I'm breaching any confidence. I had a very nice conversation with Randall Gaines. Who's the head of the Democratic Party in Louisiana. We talked this morning, and we talked about what happened last night and how we can learn in Louisiana from Virginia and New Jersey.
Yeah.
And my take last night was, and I'm going to separate Virginia and New Jersey and then get into New York City, okay?
Sure.
Because I think it's very different. New Jersey and Virginia put up two really quality governor candidates.
Yeah.
Two women.
Yeah.
Both have military background.
Really top flight people from
exactly moderates.
Yeah.
They're not fringe. They're not out in the left. And Virginia, the candidate won candidly very easily.
Yes.
And in New Jersey, where they were expecting a close race,
it wasn't.
It wasn't. It was double digits.
It wasn't at all.
And it was way more than the Republican candidate that got 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And what my message was to Mr. Gaines was, if you put up good quality candidates, and I have to say, I believe they have to be moderate. I'm going into 2028 now, okay? But they got to be candidates that can appeal to all aspects of the Democratic, progressive, moderate, you name it. That is a winning formula. I don't, on the other hand, what I don't think is a winning formula is a progressive candidate who tries to reach out across the board to all aspects. I don't think that's where the country is. But if we're looking to get the independents back, and the women back, which we did last night, okay,
yes,
and some of the maybe the rural middle, or middle class,
the young male number was incredible.
It
was incredible,
and also the Hispanic number.
Yeah.
I think the formula is what I said: find great candidates. Let them be a little bit more center left, a little bit more moderate, okay? But with the appeal to be able to broaden to everybody. And the perfect example of that is Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Barack Obama was not some far left
not at
liberal.
all. Not at all.
He was a moderate that was brilliant, that was a great speaker.
Yes.
And he got people excited. And that's kind of what we got to start searching for over the next year.
Well, and I think what you're saying is true, because this just happened to be a few major states, elections coming up. There'll be others before we get to midterms and all that. But it's a formula. It's definitely a formula for winning. It's the way to portray the things that are going on and to talk about the subjects that people and young people who feel progressive or whatever are concerned with. I mean, they're concerned with quality of life issues. I think that people
affordability.
I think that people think in some ways that people are really way over here or way over there. But most people, it's all about life. It's all about your paycheck. It's all about, can I live in this house? Can I,
totally agree.
The same things we talk about on the show every night about New Orleans or with those people.
I mean, you could have an older person that has different views culturally on different things versus a younger person.
Yeah.
But you're right. If you're a 28-year-old living in Chicago or New York, the first thing is, can I get a good job?
Right.
Second is, how can I afford to live?
Yes.
And that's an across the board issue I'm talking about.
Right.
And I think if the Dems can stay on that affordability stuff, because I think the Republicans have overreached, okay?
Yeah.
They promised a lot on inflation. The reality is the pricing is not going down.
It's going in the opposite direction.
It is.
And you've done things to fan the flames of that.
Yes. And I think they've gone overboard on immigration. I think people, when President Trump was elected, wanted us to, take criminals off the street and that. But they see images every night now of that not happening.
I think that the underlying theme in California was that. I think people have to understand that proposition passed. I think people don't want gerrymandering and all that kind of stuff. But I think it really passed because California has seen more of ICE than any other place. And I think they are like, we don't like the way this is being handled at all. It's like, and I think that's happening across the board. But it's like you said, it's one thing to say you want to go after criminals, you want to do whatever. And I think that people would have been like, okay, whatever, if it would have been handled in a moderate manner, in some manner that wasn't all this publicity and guys dragging people out of cars on TV and all that. And that's not sitting well with the American public, period.
Well, the general American public has compassion, okay?
Yeah.
And there's a difference between somebody that's a criminal and doing real damage in our country,
Right.
yeah, I think we all want that person out.
Sure.
Versus the young, 30-year-old mother with children they're splitting up families and dragging somebody out. And that isn't where America is, because our families all came through immigration.
Yeah. And one thing that we have to remember is that people basically want fairness with no matter what we feel about fairness, if we African American or whoever, and we feel that the justice system isn't fair, but we want to help. We want to believe that it will do fairness once in a while. So nobody wants somebody held without bail. Nobody wants somebody held without trial, deported without any due process. Nobody in this country wants you to not have due process.
Yeah.
They don't. It's what you said. You can be the most heinous MS-13 guy in the world. Okay, do the proper prosecution, deport him, do whatever you put him in Guantanamo Bay. Nobody will care. But you can't just put him in Guantanamo Bay and say, I think he's a gang member, whatever, and just trust me on that.
Yeah.
We don't live in a trust me on that legal system.
And I think, again, I don't want to speak for the Hispanic community because, first of all, the Hispanic community is not a model. There's a lot of different countries and people. But
Sure.
I think that they're kind of waking up and saying, this isn't really what I anticipated.
No, not at all.
And,
not at all. It's become taking grandmothers and people who are innocent and, people are afraid to send kids to school and all
Right.
kinds of things. And this is not working. This is not working. And from an economic point of view, we all know there's lots of people who work hard every day and they're getting caught up in this. And none of us want that to happen.
Right.
So that and it doesn't help with all these other economic problems that are being foisted on the country.
Right. Yeah. Now, we spent the last year since the election, candidly, Democrats, kind of healing their wounds. Okay.
Yeah.
I think last night was the beginning of the next phase. I think people now are, and again, we should not read too much because New Jersey and Virginia have historically been, Democratic strongholds. Different times they've gone Democrat or Republican.
But I think it's
in
good,
Virginia,
like you said, to clear your head, though, to actually see what needs to be done and how it needs to be done and stop wringing the hands and all that.
Exactly.
It was good from that point of view of saying, oh, we can actually do this if we, and you made a great point. You have to have great candidates who are talking about and dealing with the things the people want. Now, you can't be talking about some one issue, one note thing or anything like that. That's not going to carry you once you get in either. It's not going to help you.
Right.
So, and people want help. And what I mean by that is not handouts or anything like that. Like we said, the young person wants to be able to own a home. They want to have a job that they can count on, and enough money to own their own house or live in an apartment or whatever.
Right.
And you have to make that work. You can't just say, no, it just can't happen.
Well, I think we learned a lot from Virginia and New Jersey.
Yes.
I also think we learned a lot from the mayor's race in New York City.
Yes.
Whether you like Zoran Mandami, which I'm going to say very publicly, I don't like him for a lot of reasons. Man, that room last night when he gave his acceptance,
it was powerful.
It reminded me of Chicago.
Yes.
When Barack Obama got up, it was excitement. And
he's a powerful communicator.
He is,
and that's important too.
Yeah, he is. He is very powerful. He's young. He's got a positive image. He smiles. Okay, and a lot of young people. I heard today 1 out of every 10 of his voters in the New York City area were also his volunteers.
Wow,
that's unbelievable.
That's an incredible number.
Of what kind of campaign he put together. But we need to take that energy and channel it in the right way. Sure. And, what's going to be very interesting to watch, one is, can he actually deliver on a lot of these economic promises?
Yeah, you're
made?
right. You're right.
And second, how is he going to deal with people that did not vote? And Cuomo actually got it. Cuomo got like 41% of the vote. Is he gonna be unifying or is he gonna be divisive?
Yeah.
And that's a question still remaining.
Yes.
All right, well, we'll be back after the break. Again, love to hear from you in the last 10 minutes, 504-582-9422. We'll be back in a minute.
WBOK. Online at WBOK1230.com.
On last week's From the Press Box to Press Row with Donald Ware.
Felton Huggins, the head football coach at Kentucky State.
I just ran my own race. I set little small goals. Playing football after I got out of high school, I just asked God, can I play football again? Didn't matter what level it was. Didn't matter where it was at, how it was. After I got out of playing ball at God, I just wanted to be a coach. I have goals. I have dreams. Oh, cool. I will get you up D3. I made $200 my first time coaching. A month. It was a chance for me to learn and grow. After that, I set another goal. I wanted to be a head coach at some point. When I say all that to say, man, just run your own race. Every experience you go through, life is a learning curve. Hopefully you can help someone out and have a reach one, teach one mentality.
From the Press Box to Press Row is one of the hottest sports talk shows in the country. Join Donald each week as he takes you on a journey through the world of HBCU sports and pro sports and interviews with top sports and entertainment figures. That's From the Press Box to Press Row each week on your favorite station.
Box to Row, Saturdays at 2 p.m. on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com. What New Orleans is talking
This
about.
week on The Way Forward, I'll give thoughts about why it's problematic for us to view ourselves individually as the answer to society's issues. Plus, I'll share what's good, a need-to-know fact, and my go-forward message. Join me Saturday at 3 p.m. It's The Way Forward with yours truly, Eddie Francis, here on 1230 a.m. or streaming live at WBOK1230.com and the Play Ode app. On WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
New Orleans, are you ready for a voice that says what you're thinking? Who that, you might ask? Arrington Gavin. That's right, I'm your guy, host of The Arrington Gavin Show, giving you so much filled with bold opinions, real conversations, and zero sugarcoating. We're going to be diving into the issues that matter, politics, pop culture, and all the above, unfiltered and unafraid. Catch The Arrington Gavin Show weeknights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Fridays, right here on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
I'm Wendell Pierce. Thanks for making WBOK your station. WBOK.
You are listening to the best of Let's Elevate with Arnie Philco and Cary Grant.
The Arnie and Cary Show with Arnie Philco and Cary Grant.
All right.
We're back.
Yeah, we were just finishing up the conversation on politics. And, I think one lesson to be learned last night is, politics is becoming in some ways less policy and more generational.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
I have a son that lives in Brooklyn, and I asked him yesterday, who are you going to vote for? And he says, I don't like Zoran, but I'm not going to vote against him necessarily.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was like, as a near 70-year-old, I'm saying, how could you take that position? It's becoming generational.
Absolutely.
And, a lot of the young people get the 20s and 30s, get the rap of, they don't know what's going on in life, and, they just go for. Actually, they do know what's going on.
They're a lot smarter than they're given credit for.
Exactly.
These devices are making, this is all the information in the world at their fingertips, and they're doing it 10 times the speed you and I are doing. So they know a lot. They communicate with each other. They have more interactions than we ever did when we were young.
Yes.
So those issues, and when they want to have a rally for Zoran or whoever they like, they'll show up. There'll be 5,000 of them there in 5 minutes. So it's all those kind of things. And it's time for a change in the guard. I think people are really across the board realize you can't be an elder statesman and be in some of these jobs anymore because there's too much going on. The world's moving too fast. Whatever. I mean,
I actually
don't think
hope
we
we
want that.
I hope we get to a point in either 3 years from now or the next. I hope we get to the point of having a 40-year-old president. Okay.
Yeah. Be fine.
Yeah.
Be fine.
I mean, look. I mean, with all due respect to President Biden, he was an old guy.
Yeah.
Trump is he still has most of his mental facilities, but. He's an older guy, all right?
He's looking backward, and we both say this all the time.
Yeah.
You have to look forward. The world is moving so fast. We just talked about this movie that shows you the world's moving fast. If you have 16 minutes to decide the fate of the world, I would like it to be somebody who's really sharp, and able to run fast.
Exactly.
So whatever, but that's a real thing. That's a real thing. And I think it's happening all over.
It's all all levels of government. I have to tell you, maybe people won't agree with this, but, our mayor-elect, one of the charms she has is not only is she very smart, and I think she's going to have great ideas, but she's a younger version.
Yes.
And I think younger people, and also older people too, we want to see that youthful energy in our elected officials.
I think the thing that they used to call it a long time ago was having the fire in the belly. And I've told people many times, people have asked me about, you should run for. I said, 10 years ago, I was a different person. That might have been something I found interesting. But as an older person, I know what it takes to do these jobs.
Yeah.
You have to be able to stay up all night, like I did when I was 35 years old. So it's really good for people to get into this while they have that energy to give us all their effort and, and do move things forward. And I think that the next presidential election, you see a lot of people who are 50s, 40s, 30s,
younger,
that kind of stuff. And there'll be serious candidates. And I think the good part about this, too, is we know that the people that we're talking about, you have to have the communication skills, the education level, everything to carry the load, because it's not going to fly anymore to be, to just fake your way through this stuff. I mean, I think that the backlash from Trump and the flash in the pan stuff and I'm going to cut the price of eggs is not going to cut it.
No,
anymore.
it's not. It's funny because I have this nonprofit called the Starting Block.
Yes.
We train high school students about careers in the sports field.
Right.
And I tell them, I tell the students, you are so lucky. When I got into the business,
Right.
I mean, if you wanted to be like a general manager of an NFL team, you needed to be an old coach, okay?
Right.
You needed to be a guy who had been coaching for 30 years, and eventually you're moving into that GM.
Yeah.
Today, there are so many 20 and 30-year-olds, they're stocking the franchise with analysts that are looking at every data point. And
and coaches who are 36 years old,
Yeah.
I heard the other day that Sean McVay's been in the NFL for like 9 years, the coach of the Rams, and he's been there 9 years, and he's still like the second youngest coach in the league. So it's what you said. I mean, and it takes that kind of energy to run that kind of organization.
Yeah.
You can see it. You can absolutely see it.
Yeah. By the way, I saw this. I didn't. They had not been following it, but a guy from the New Orleans area, Butera, if I'm saying that right, came through Mandeville High School.
Mm-hmm.
He got named the manager of the Washington Nationals.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
That's
That
great.
we have
That's
a local
great.
guy.
Absolutely.
And, I saw the other day at the MLB Academy, Ron Washington was there.
Yes.
And you talk about a high-quality, wonderful guy from New Orleans, lives in New Orleans East. Left, was the manager of the Anaheim Angels.
Mm-hmm.
He had to leave the position in the summer because of a health issue.
Yeah.
And he's back here in New Orleans right
That's
now.
great.
I'm hoping he's going to be able to get another MLB.
Yeah.
But we are so lucky to have guys like that. He is,
Absolutely.
he came on the field. This is a Major League Baseball manager. And before I left, I saw him over in the shortstop area, and he was flipping balls to infielders.
Kids. Yeah,
and,
wow.
What
That's
a
great.
treat that would be for a high school
Right,
kid
right. Yeah,
to have
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Yeah.
So that's so much stuff happening in New Orleans right now. The budget stuff keeps going.
Keeps going.
But it'll be over soon because they have a deadline of December 1.
1st, yeah.
They have to agree on the budget.
Yeah.
And that'll be very interesting. And then before we know it, we're going to be at inauguration,
Yeah.
first 2 weeks in January.
I think that this deal that's being worked out, say being worked out because we think that it's going in the right direction. We hope it does. But I think that this deal, the one piece of it that I want them to use properly, and I'm talking about whoever the council were, is having the legislative auditor and some of his people available to you. As you said earlier about reports or whatever, you think, tap into this guy. This guy is a fine financial officer. He understands what I'm talking about, and make sure that he helps you to set up whatever systems, whatever you want to think about, and whatever comes to mind, utilize him as a real resource.
Yeah.
Because that will help you to get off to a great start and everything gets straightened out. Because what I'm really concerned is about, and I was saying it earlier, is let's make sure 2026, even if it has cuts in it, is manageable, sustainable, and we don't have a financial problem with what we're passing again. So we can at least get started right.
Yeah, we
we don't want to get 3 months into this and say,
no,
this wasn't the right number.
No, we can't. I mean, come January, it's a fresh start, and we gotta make it. Why not have an expert?
Yeah,
working
let
with
him
you.
analyze.
Yeah, exactly. So
utilize his skills.
In any event, lots of stuff. New Orleans never runs out of topics. That's good because then we don't run out of topics.
Yes.
Everybody have a great night. Carrie and I will be back tomorrow night here at 6 o'clock.
And tomorrow is our 1-year anniversary.
Is it?
Yes.
Of our radio show?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, I've been writing in my book since the 6th of November.
Quick, we need some champagne tomorrow, okay? You got to pop the bottle off. 1 year, man. They haven't kicked us off yet.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's a good
shocked.
sign. Yeah. So if you're listening, Jeff Thomas and Troy Henry and Wendell Pierce.
We made it.
We made it, all right? All right, everybody. Have a great evening. Be safe out there. And Carrie and I will be back tomorrow night at 6 o'clock.
From the East Bank to the West Bank, WBOK is what New Orleans is talking about. WBOK.
Campus of Xavier University. WBOK Go and Equity Media Station. The Sports Report.
Welcome once again to the Sports Report as we get together with NBA champion Antonio Daniels on WBOK and look back at the Pelicans' loss last night in Phoenix, go over the rest of the association as well. AD had got away. That's 4 of the first 8 that have gotten away for the Pels now. And when you look at it, is it more defense than offense? You tell us.
Man, that's tough. That's tough. I feel like everything starts with defense because that should be consistent. There are certain nights where you're just not going to shoot the ball well. It happens. That's basketball. Right. I think the big thing that we talk about is what you would like to see. Not you. I'll speak for myself. What I would like to see is an established sense of identity. And then you win or lose playing that way every night. No matter what. No matter what. So there are certain teams in the league that have an established identity, and there are a lot of teams that don't, that are still searching. I understand it's still early. It's only 10 games in. You got 72 games left. I get that. But you want to establish an identity according to the way that your roster is constructed. That's what I would like to see on either side of the ball, no matter what. But whatever it is, whatever the identity is something that you want to lean into. If you want to play fast, play fast. I'm all for it. Play fast. You have a very, very young, fast point guard in Jeremiah Fears. If you want to pick up the pace, Jose Alvarado. You want to pick up the pace, so be it. But whatever that identity that you decide that you want to attach to your team, I feel like it's something that you really, truly need to lean into and play that style.
It sounds like, the personality, the traits that you excel at, whether it's getting into people being aggressive at the defensive end of the floor, or as you say, maybe you want to pick it up. Maybe you want pace, space, but trying to find that out now. We're 10 games into the season. You still have to come up with that. And we know going into the game last night, you and I both knew that Phoenix is shooting many more threes under Jordan Knott, their new head coach. They're shooting basically about 45 a game now, and they had 43 attempts last night. So going into the game, more than anything else, you've got to defend the perimeter. And I think that was the real letdown last night. You pointed it out on the telecast repeatedly, the lack of communication out front and the breakdowns on the perimeter out front. And that's why, in my estimation, that was a big reason why Grayson Allen had a career night going 10 of 15 from beyond the arc.
No question. And it's not simply the miscommunication. Sometimes there's no communication to be had, and it's a simple individual defensive breakdown. We had a saying in the NBA, and it's called guard your yard. That means you guard the man that's in front of you. Listen, I understand. I'm not saying that like it's easy. I've gotten beaten off the dribble before, whatever it may be. But to constantly and consistently be broken down off the dribble at the point of attack, that's where a lot of these threes are coming from. Yep, we can look at miscommunication, but I tell you, once one guy gets broken down, now your entire defense is in scramble mode. So when one guy gets broken down, now he has to rotate. Then somebody has to cover for the guy who rotated. Then somebody has to cover for the guy who rotated for the guy who rotated, which eventually ends up in a wide open three-point shot. So again, a lot of this comes down to, for me, individual pride. Individual pride. Like, again, it is so hard to guard guys in this league one-on-one. I get it, especially really talented guys. The Devin Bookers who come into the game averaging 39 points a game versus the Pelicans over the last, 6 or 7 games or so. I get that. But when you're being broken down, not by Devin Booker, not by Olympians, not by All-Stars, but by other role players and guys that's not what they do best, that's where your issue starts to come in. Grayson Allen beat guys off the dribble yesterday, Joel, along with hitting 10 threes. That's where the problem comes in.
So you're going back to 6, 7, whatever it takes. Point is, often they didn't communicate out front because a lot of those threes were uncontested threes where it was simple switches And Phoenix switched everything. You and I both saw that. So Phoenix switched everything, whereas too often, and obviously there were drives and kicks, but too often Grayson Allen had a lot of space on his jumpers, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He was 12 of 17 overall.
Yeah, but that comes from, like, Grayson Allen's not a guy that creates. He's a guy that gets created for. So
He's
what
a
happens
spacer.
is, he's a spacer. So when somebody gets broken down, then the guy who's guarding Grayson Allen then has to rotate because the guy who's guarding whoever else is broken down. Now that leaves Grayson Allen wide open. And it's a sense of how bad do you really want to win? The attention to detail that we've discussed before. KYP, knowing your personnel, knowing what guys do well. You don't run a guy off the three-point line that doesn't want to shoot threes. You know, just knowing the little nuances of the game and also the players that you are guarding at that particular time. You know, there's sometimes where a guy gets going like Grayson Allen was going yesterday, and now it almost becomes a game of 4-on-4, especially if Devin Booker's not in the game. Because I'm not helping off Grayson Allen anymore.
Well, and Devin Booker only played like 25, 26 minutes. They didn't need him last night.
And what was, I'll tell you, for me, what was disappointing, Joe, about yesterday's game versus Phoenix was the way that this team played in the previous 3 games.
Right. The fight.
Right? The Charlotte game, the Dallas game, and even the San Antonio game. You lost the San Antonio game, but the fight was there. The competing was there. And that's really all you want to see. So to go out and compete and win at home versus Charlotte, and then 24 hours later to go into Dallas and beat Dallas, and then to go into San Antonio and get punched in the face and get off the mat, put yourself in a position to win that game, came down to the last few possessions. You lose, but you fought. So be it. And then to have that type of performance at the end of a road trip, that's the part for me personally that was disappointing.
You're also outscored beyond the arc, and we said the offense is lacking as well, but it starts at the defensive end. But if you look at the offense, the Pels 31% from beyond the arc. They had 10 triples, 19 triples for the Phoenix Suns because they got what they wanted. Let's face it, they really did. And well, it was Royce O'Neal too. And Royce O'Neal, 4 of 8 from beyond the arc. 8 of his 9 shots were triples. 15 of the 17 attempts by Grayson Allen were from three-point land. So you got outscored by 27, which is a huge disparity on your threes. And I don't care who you are and how good you are defensively, you're not going to be able to make up a deficit like that. You're also outscored points off turnovers. You're a minus 13. Yet there was only a two turnover difference between the two teams in that game. So a lot of things to work on at the defensive end, but at the same time, and Trey's been in a groove. You called it. You're right. He's got a double-double last night. He had 21 and 10. Herb went into the game. Herb was shooting 45%, a career best on his threes, but he only took 3 threes. He was 1 of 3. So your three-point shooters, you've got to feature them. You've got to make them available. Sadiq Bey is a nice threat from beyond the arc as well. He had a third of his 6. So there's got to be a formula. You've got to get stops to begin with, but at the same time, you need to play to the strengths of your personnel and find a way to free them up. Find a way to free them up because you only got 98 points again, and the Pels going into the game almost dead last in scoring at 107, 108 a game going into the contest.
And for me, this goes back to playing to your identity again. Because again, there's a misconception, Joel, that every time you and I are on the broadcast and we say you got to play with pace, people think or assume that means you have to fast break. Like you have to, you got to play fast and try and score. No, you can play with pace in the half court. But what we're saying is if you get the ball up the floor in 4 seconds, that gives you 20 seconds to run your offense. I think what we've seen a lot this season is this team is fighting against the shot clock. How often are we
All the
saying that
time.
ball has not gone inside the 3-point line and there's 5 seconds to go on the clock or 6 seconds
All
to
the
go on the
time.
clock?
Yeah,
Right.
all the time. It's a valid point.
If you play to
Valid point.
if you're just, and again, I'm saying play with speed, meaning outlet that ball to Jeremiah Fears or outlet that ball to whoever, and you just push the ball up the floor into your offensive set. Now this gives you time to go through your offensive progressions. All right, we went through the option on this side. All right, now let's swing it to the other side. We went through this side. Okay, now we're in a Mayday or a butter situation, right? But when you walk the ball up, now you have one progression. And if that progression breaks down, now it becomes a one-on-one situation. So I feel like a lot of this, obviously everything starts at the defensive end, but if we turn the page to the offensive end, I would love to see this team play with more pace, not meaning fast breaking simply to score, but pushing the ball up the floor so you have time to run through your offensive set.
Well, so often, and that's the voice of Antonio Daniels, NBA champion. And we continue with the Sports Report on WBOK. You and I said multiple times last night, there weren't a lot of touches in the half-court sets.
Right.
So the ball didn't move. It was a high screen, and usually it was at the 10-second mark out front, and then all of a sudden you're at 7, 6, and you're still right at the 3-point line. They had multiple touches, and that's why there was, and you've got to make them to get assists, obviously, but they only had 5 more makes than the Pels overall in the game, 39 over 34, but they had 29 assists on their 39 makes, where the Pels had only 18 assists on their 34 because the ball was It stopped. It wasn't moving right.
And I'll tell you, Joe, and I'm speaking from experience with this, you know what is incredibly hard to guard is a offense that's in motion.
Right.
An offense that is in motion is really hard to guard. And by motion, I'm referencing ball movement and player movement. Golden State didn't win, go through their dynasty run by accident. They moved the basketball. San Antonio didn't have 20 years of sustained success. They got nicknamed boring, and then after a while, they called it beautiful basketball because the ball always found the open guy because it's hard to guard.
And the guys were moving.
Yes, but it's so easy. It is very easy to guard a team that is isocentric. That is a heavy ISO team. Just simply give the ball to a guy and get out his way and allow him to go one-on-one. Now, he may have a great game. Yesterday, Grayson Allen had a career high. He didn't do a lot of going one-on-one. He was the beneficiary of somebody breaking somebody down and then somebody breaking somebody else down and him simply doing his job, sliding away, relocating, being ready to catch and shoot.
He made himself available
Right.
when you talk about relocating. And they were clean looks. They were, and the same for Royce O'Neal. He was in the corner a lot. I bet all 4 of his makes were in the corner on his triples because he was 4 of 8 overall from beyond the arc. Now on the plus side for the Pels, okay? The plus side, I really like what I'm seeing from Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, and Micah Peavy. We got off the plane, and Micah and Derek were over there, and we were waiting for our bags to come. And I said to both of them, I said, just keep doing what you're doing. You're getting better by the rep. They really are. Jeremiah's got, you could tell, Jeremiah's got the it factor about him. Derek Queen with every rep. And it was a quiet night for Derek, but a quiet night was 12 and 6. So, and it was quiet for him with a couple of assists. So everything's good. And Micah Peavy, out of everybody off the bench, plus minus, he was the lowest. He was -6. He wasn't, everybody else was double figures because Micah Peavy takes pride at the defensive end of the floor. So I really like Joe and Troy on what they did with player evaluation, 7 and 13. And Micah was, gosh, what was Micah, 40, 41?
Yeah, second round.
The plus side, the plus side, these 3 guys really look like you want to invest in them, and they're going to be around for a long time to come.
I tell you, Joe, for me, the last probably 15 seconds of the game is what stands out to me. The game was over.
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, the game was over. The game was decided. And Derek Queen got into it with Dylan Brooks.
You got it.
And then Jeremiah Fears got into it with Dylan Brooks, standing up for Derek Queen. For me, that's
He
what stands
defended
out.
his teammate.
Right. That for me, that's what stood out. You have two guys that are 10 games into their rookie career, not backing down from a soul. Not backing down from a soul.
By the way, we think alike. That's something I brought up to Micah and Derek. I didn't see Jeremiah. He was off to the side. But when we got off the plane today, that's what I said. Hey, Dylan Brooks, I'm happy you guys stood up for each other. I said, Dylan Brooks has been doing that since Memphis, Houston, and now Phoenix.
Right.
And that showed me a lot. Like, you're not going to punk us. That was great.
And obviously the skill set is incredibly important. Skill set. You know, Derek Queen's skill set, Jeremiah Fears' speed and his ability to handle the ball, Micah Peavy's wanting to defend. But to me, the mindset is more impressive. That's the part that's more impressive because the mindset is contagious. Like the skill set, God bless us all with something just for us. But the mindset is something that we can pass on to others. And the fact that you have three rookies that are willing to go to war, even though that game was over, that's what impressed me. And those guys have been great. I know Micah Peavy's frustrated because that ball's not going in. And, you know, I get that. I get that. And in time, it'll go. In time, that'll happen. But when you look at what Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears are doing, man, listen, VJ Edgecombe has been great in Philadelphia. He's been great in Philly. Cooper Flagg has been decent in Dallas. You have a couple other rookies here and there, but man, look, when you watch what these guys are doing with this New Orleans Pelicans basketball team, all that they're missing to get the credit that they deserve is the wins. That's all they're missing.
Yeah, and Jeremy,
playing well.
To me, they're so far ahead because I look at it. Jeremiah just turned 19 a couple of weeks ago. Derek's only 20. Micah is the grizzled vet because he stayed in college longer. Mm-hmm. So for 10 games into their NBA careers, they're acting really professional, and they get it. They are taking their craft seriously. And the night before the game, and last night in Phoenix, the off night, where was Jeremiah Fears? He wasn't out. He wasn't at a club. He wasn't going to dinner. Where was he?
In the gym.
You got it.
He's in a high school gym. Yep. And that's how it starts. That's how it starts. Like greatness doesn't happen by accident.
Dedication.
It does not happen by accident. I know a lot of everything that we have is God-given, but I've always been told our gift back to God is what we do with the talent that we've been given. And a part of that is putting in the time, the energy, the work, and the effort toward becoming better. Like not being complacent. I'm not complacent starting. You know, I want to be great. I'm not content with where I'm at. I want to continue to grow. You know, and every game that these young rookies step on the floor, it's a growing experience. They're not going to play great every time they step on the floor.
Right.
They're going to make mistakes. Nope. You know, they're going to miss defensive assignments. They're going to make bad passes. They're not going to understand time, score, situation, what's needed and when it's needed. Okay, it is what it is. But the fact that they are so, like you said, mature and so professional, you're willing to live with those mistakes, especially the aggressive ones.
Yeah, before we take a break, I want your thoughts on this as well, because of the mentorship that's needed when you have young guys like the Pels do right now. And when it comes to Jose Alvarado, man, is that impressive. Jose has been in the ear of Jeremiah Fears since he arrived and has really helped him. Every time out, Jeremiah comes over, Jose is pointing something out. And then the most recent addition for the Pels, and I told DeAndre Jordan has meant so much. He is always talking to Derek Queen. And you know, you played at the highest level. You came in, you had vets in San Antonio when you arrived. And we've talked about it on the air, but I can't say enough about DeAndre Jordan, who just arrived, and Jose Alvarado, who's losing minutes to a rookie, but he's in the year of that rookie. And that is a great person, a classic teammate when you look at Jose Alvarado.
You know, for me, Joe, I've told you this numerous times. I feel like this is one of the most underrated and underappreciated variables in today's NBA. It's lacking on a lot of teams. And that's a veteran voice. Somebody who's been there, somebody who's done it, and you just brought up two great examples. And I've had an opportunity to sit down with both of them, DeAndre Jordan and also Jose, and just talk to them about what their thoughts are about mentoring and taking Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen under their wing. And it's important, man. Like, you can't, guys don't know what they don't know. Rookies don't know what they don't know. DeAndre Jordan, for me, has been the most vocal Pelican, and he's been there the least amount of time.
Right. It's impressive.
It's very impressive, but it's not just impressive, Joe. It's needed. It's needed because everybody's not built that way. Everybody's not built that way. Everybody's not built to lead vocally. You know, David Robinson, great leader, but wasn't built to lead vocally. Tim Duncan, great leader, but wasn't built to lead vocally. They led in other ways with their work ethic, right? They led with showing up on time, being the first one there, last one to lead, being punctual, being professional. There are different forms of leadership. Everybody's not meant to be a vocal leader. The fact that Jose has embraced it and DeAndre Jordan have embraced it, even to guys that they are legitimately losing minutes to, I know for me, Joe, that's what makes that more impressive, because I'm a firm believer that internal competition is healthy, but I've also been on teams and seen teams where guys are in competition with each other and they're not helping each other. They're not trying to help each other.
They want to see him fail as opposed to succeed, unfortunately.
That's right. And Jose is Jeremiah Fears' biggest fan. And I mean that literally. Jose is Jeremiah's biggest fan. He is constantly talking about how good Jeremiah is now, but how much better he's going to be, how bright his future is. And again, this is coming from a young man that has lost minutes to Jeremiah Fears and is still up every game on the side, standing next to Willie Green, standing next to James Borrego, coaching. How you handle adversity is important.
Yep. He's really, really strong. Jose's got an unbelievable heart. He's just a good person, good soul. Let's take a quick time out. We'll come back. I want to go over a couple of the games last night and the top six in each conference as well. That San Antonio Daniels will continue with the Sports Report on WBOK.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton. Losing a loved one is tough enough. Do you really want your family dealing with court battles and paperwork on top of it?
Whether you choose a will or a trust, think ahead. Take care of your family. Let them focus on healing instead of headaches. This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor. We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
Meet Leanna, a part-time chef and full-time mom. In the past, Leanna didn't have health insurance because she didn't think she could afford it. What she didn't realize is she qualified for Medicaid. She loves the coverage and peace of mind that comes with high-quality care. The kind of care you get with Healthy Blue. This is Medicaid, and it's for more people than you think. Maybe even you. To see if you qualify, go to myhealthybluela.com.
Talk That Knoll Education is all about awareness. Join me, Dr. Jakir Ross, from New Schools for New Orleans to learn about the impact of having Black male educators inside and around public schools. Tune in for Talk That this Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m.
WBOK. Online at WBOK1230.com. The Sports Report.
Welcome back as we continue with the Sports Report with NBA champion Antonio Daniels on WBOK. A couple of incredible finishes last night in the NBA, a couple of wild finishes, but I want to start with one, and it went down to the wire, and it was in Chicago, and that's why it's so impressive. San Antonio, after they, and remember, this is why we know the Pels are capable of competing at a high level.
Right.
That was a one-possession game with 90 seconds to go before De'Aaron Fox hit the backbreaker in the paint. The Pels were down 115, 112 to San Antonio in San Antonio and really played hard. It was that was the second. They played Dallas and beat Dallas in the second of a back-to-back. Go to San Antonio, compete at a high level, so we know what they're capable of. Last night, San Antonio came from behind, beat the Chicago Bulls in Chicago. Final score is 121-117. And I said to you on our telecast when we were in San Antonio, I'm never, ever, it's just amazing to me. I'm overwhelmed when I watch him and a ball comes off his fingertips like a perfect guard who takes a jump shot. When a guy is 7'4", 7'5", he played 36 minutes last night. Wembanyama, 38 points, dozen boards, 5 dimes, 5 blocks, 10 of 10 at the free throw line, 6 of 9 from beyond the arc. I mean, AD, we've never, ever seen. And there have been other tall guys. Come on. We've had long guys, Manute Bol. We can go down the list. Sean Bradley. We've never seen anybody with this length and this kind of skill set.
Agreed. Like, I've said this before. I have said this before. And I'm not being hyperbolic because I've said it here. I've said it on our my Sirius XM show. I've said it on our broadcast. If you could go to settings, scroll over, and turn off injuries, Victor Wembanyama could be the best player to ever touch a basketball. Ever. Yeah, I'm talking about better than LeBron and Michael Jordan and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Russell and Kobe Bryant. And, like, he's probably going to be the best. He's going to be the best Spur ever. And Tim Duncan is the greatest power forward to ever lace him up. He's going to surpass all of that. Because we've never, Joe, never, you said it, we've never seen a guy. We've seen guys 7'4" before. We've seen it. You know, you name some of the names. You know, the Sean Bradleys, the Manute Bols, the Mark Eatons, the Ralph Sampsons. Like, we've seen some of these guys before. But we've never seen guys with this size, with this skill. 6 of 9 from 3, 10 of 10 from the line. From a big man? Like, really?
He handles that when he hit the one. It kills me. The handle he has when he walked up the floor against the Pels, he's about 28 feet straight away, and he takes it off the dribble with a beautiful rotation off his fingertips and hits the three. He's got a great handle besides. And he goes down, here's the 7'4" guy that lowers the dribble. It's unbelievable to watch him. And I had to bring that up to you because you appreciate it like I do. And they didn't beat themselves. The Spurs were a +10 on points off turnovers. So I know how you feel. If the Pels aren't succeeding, I talked to R.C. Buford a long time before the game in San Antonio, found out about Pop, and found out that Tim Duncan's going with him every day to physical therapy.
He's been doing it for months.
That tells you everything you need to know about Tim Duncan. You already knew it. He's one of your best buddies. Mm-hmm. But it's easy to like the Spurs because they do it the right way.
Right.
And now with the talent with Castle picking up De'Aaron Fox, Cornette was back in the lineup last night with 16.7 boards. He was 6 of 6. You got it. They just, and Harper's going to come back in 2 or 3 weeks. But the point is, they're ascending because of Big Vic, and they've got nice pieces around him.
And we talked about this, Joel, but there was Victor Wembanyama expedited the process. If you remember when he was drafted, they didn't win, and it was like, oh, okay, that's cool, but he's really good, though. He's really good.
Right.
And it's like, okay, but maybe we have a 5-year plan. And then after that year, they went out and got Chris Paul, who played in all 82 games last year, went out and got Harrison Barnes, who played in all 82 games last year, and was like, you know what, man? Okay, no, we don't have a 5-year plan. He's so good, we have an opportunity to win now. Now it's about surrounding him with the correct pieces that complement his skill set. Right. That's why you go all in on De'Aaron Fox. That's why, and you didn't have to touch your young core. You didn't have to touch Keldon Johnson or Devin Vassell or Stephon Castle or Jeremy Sohan. You didn't have to touch any of those guys. So now here you are in year 3, after he won Rookie of the Year, and he honestly would have won Defensive Player of the Year this past year if he would have made the 65-game threshold.
Right.
And now you're in year 3, and now you can start hearing whispers of, well, just making it to the playoffs, even though this team hasn't made the playoffs since, I believe, 2019, something like that. That's not
18,
enough.
19 last time. Yep.
Yeah, that's
18,
not
19.
enough. Making it to the playoffs is not enough.
Accelerated but you said it, they accelerated the process because of Victor.
He
by going
accelerated
out
the
to
process.
get De'Aaron
That's
Fox.
right.
Yeah, but they surrounded him with pros like Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox. They really, the way they went shopping made a lot of sense. And then they pick up Dylan Harper with the 2nd overall pick. Not too shabby. And they had the Rookie of the Year. They've had back-to-back Rookies of the Year. Come on. I mean, it's wild where they're at already at 8-2. So San Antonio in good shape. We'll go over the standings of the Western Conference, but there was a wild finish last night. Miami and Cleveland. It's at Miami. First of all, Donovan Mitchell hits that shot to force overtime.
Crazy
Give me a break.
Shot.
Crazy
shot.
Yeah, wild shot. A 3, and they force overtime. But if you 0.4 of a second left, looks like you're going to double overtime, right? And do you believe the blown assignment on the inbound series by the Cavaliers? Because you and I both saw it.
I do.
It is unbelievable the way the Miami won that game.
0.5 seconds left. 0.5 seconds left. They were down 1. And they set basically a flare screen that turned into a lob. And again, as we talked about in the first segment, about how difficult it is to guard motion, moving parts, and how easy it is to guard a team that is stagnant and standing and ISO-based. And a lot of times the movement is simply to cause and force communication. Because I don't care what level you're at, Joe. I don't care if it's junior high school, AAU, EYBL, grassroots basketball, college, NBA, no matter what. One of the most difficult things to do or to bring out of a team on a basketball floor is communication. And that's always been the case. No matter how much you guys like each other off the floor, sometimes it is so difficult to communicate on the floor. And if you can just put a team in a position where they have to communicate and talk their way through things as opposed to assuming that you know what I'm going to do and I know what you're going to do. That's where so many breakdowns happen. And you saw that last night. Sam Merrill was supposed to switch, and he didn't switch. So Andrew Wiggins peels out on a flare screen to a lob, 0.4 seconds left. Great pass by Jovic right at the rim. All he has to do is dunk the ball through, and they win at the buzzer. Simple play.
Right.
Simple play.
You know what I did like, and it's the details. You bring up details. You always do. Eric Spoelstra had, what is Jovic, 6'9", 6'10" shooter?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he had him bring the ball in, didn't he?
That says a lot about the way Eric Spoelstra feels about Jovic, though.
Yep. He had him bring it in, and he made a perfect pass. But he put a big guy. It's going to be tough to deny completely when a guy has that kind of length bringing the ball in.
But it's also the fact, Joe, that Jovic is maybe he's not a great passer, like in a game, like to break somebody down and make the right read. But Eric Spoelstra doesn't put someone there that can't make that pass.
Right. Absolutely. You know what I mean? He knows his personnel.
Yes, exactly. KYP, know your personnel. We say it all the time. That's not just a player thing. That's not just an analyst thing. It's not just a know what your opponent does well and struggles with thing. It's as a coach, I have to know my personnel too. That says a lot about the confidence that Eric Spoelstra has in Jovic.
And both teams, after that game and that win for Miami, both teams are now 7-4 because they're going to see each other, and they could see each other down the road in the postseason. And we win because those are good matchups. Really good matchups for us and really good coaching. Kenny Atkinson one way, Eric Spoelstra the other way. Two guys, been there, done that, and a ton of reps. Another outrageous finish last night. Orlando and Portland. And a costly turnover at the end of the game for Portland enabled Orlando. But, come on. What a shot. And maybe this catapults Orlando because it's been a struggle for them, for Desmond Bain. He had 22 last night on 19 shots, so it wasn't super a finish, only 1 of 6 from 3. They're struggling from beyond the arc. They were 8 of 30, 27%. But maybe this will get Orlando going. Portland's playing everybody close. Portland's 500. They're 5-5. They're better off than the Pels, and the Pels get Portland. That's their next matchup. But that was an incredible shot by Desmond Bain. And when you're new to a team, boy, you saw him mob him at the end of the game. That had to mean a lot to Desmond Bain and to that locker room with the newcomer.
Yeah, yesterday we actually did an entire segment on the Orlando Magic because it was almost like a what's wrong with the Magic sort of thing.
Right.
And in particular, Desmond Bain, because you can't have this conversation where you're talking about Desmond Bain without also bringing up the fact that a year prior to, they brought in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who was a 2-time NBA champion, and he didn't work either. So now you start to look at the Orlando Magic situation a little different. Like, okay, you brought in 2 veterans, and either one of them are working. And what we were referencing is how they are a very ISO-based team as well. Ben Carroll's a lot of ISO ball. Wagner, an ISO guy. But then what happened yesterday is you just said he was 1 of 6 from 3. So the only 3 that Desmond Bain hit yesterday was the 3 to win the game.
Right.
He was 0 for 5 prior to that. But when you look at another piece, the 19 field goal attempts led the Orlando Magic, which has been different because sometimes he'll come out of game with 6 shots and 5 shots.
Right.
So yesterday, I don't know if he had a talk with Jamal Mosley about being more involved. I don't know if the coaching staff was deliberate in getting him involved, but the fact that he led the Orlando Magic yesterday in field goal attempts taken, it was almost like it was a point for him to go out there and be more aggressive than what he's been.
That is a great segue, by the way. You bringing up field goal attempts for Desmond Bain because he did have 19. That was the most. And I bring it up because have you ever been a part of any basketball game at any level where someone took 45 shots like Cade Cunningham did for the Detroit Pistons, who won their 7th straight and got away with it against a young squad, the Washington Wizards, who had an opportunity at the end of the game. CJ had that shot, CJ McCollum, our buddy. But Cade Cunningham, 14 of 45. 45 shots for 46 points, and he needed 16 of 18 at the free throw line to get to 46. Is that bizarre?
That is bizarre, but he also had a triple-double. And I will say this. Right now, if you look at the NBA, look at the landscape of the NBA, both conferences, you have a hard time. You have a hard time finding a more formidable duo than Cade Cunningham, especially perimeter post, and Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren right now is probably the newcomer of the year. Right now. That's how well he's playing. And a lot of that gets shined, like he gets kind of dimmed by the shine of Cade Cunningham. But Jalen Duren has been fantastic. And even though Cade Cunningham took 45 shots, Joe, he still ended up with a 40-point triple-double. It wasn't an efficient triple-double, but a 40-point triple-double nonetheless.
And I'm glad you brought up Duran because when I saw Duran, it kind of reminded me of Bam Adebayo when he came into the league. That kind of athlete. Very similar structure, stature. Bam's got a little bit better, maybe mid-range game, but Duran's younger, so it could grow. And Duran last night was unreal efficient. He was 19 points, 14 boards, but what I really like, 7 of his 14 boards came on the offensive glass. And that's why the Pistons had 25 second chance points. That's the difference in a game, a close game. They were a plus 10 in second chance points because they also capitalized on a young team's mistakes. They were a plus 13 in points off turnovers against the Wizards. The Wizards are going to be fine, and Alex Starr is starting to understand what his role is with that team.
Yes,
he had a double-double with 15 and 15 because he was very quiet last year, and you went, well, wait a minute, Reese Shea was taken second overall, and man, did he adjust by midseason to the NBA. Reese Shea is going to be a really nice player for the Atlanta Hawks. Good-looking wing,
you know
long.
I'll argue, Joe, Reese Shea is the most unknown #1 overall pick in history.
Well, he was 2. Sarr was 1.
No, he was first. Alex Sarr went second. Yeah, okay. Alex Sarr went second.
Yeah, but Sarr wanted to go to Washington and wouldn't even work out for Atlanta.
Right. So they took Reese Shea first. And that's it's so funny. Like when I'm in a barbershop.
He's a good-looking player.
Yeah, when I'm in a barbershop and I talk to either the barbers that are in there or talk to guys in there, we're just talking basketball. Ask like the next time you're talking basketball with your buddies anywhere, just ask them, not guys that are plugged into the NBA, just in general. Ask them, who was the #1 overall pick 2 years ago? Everybody will know Cooper Flagg. Everybody will know Cooper Flagg coming out of Duke. But ask them who the #1 overall pick was 2 years ago or who the #2 overall pick was 2 years ago. Joe, you will not get an answer.
And I really like him.
You will not get an answer.
Man, really like his game. Reese Shea is a real good-looking talent. Man. Okay, now looking before we wrap things up, let's go over the top 6 in each conference and who could be a spoiler and move into the top 6 so they can avoid the play-in. We know Oklahoma City is going to be there. San Antonio's surprised. They're 8-2. Oklahoma City #1 at 10-1. Denver, no surprise. I've got them in the top 3 anyway. They're 7-2. Lakers, 8-3, doing it without everybody, and give them credit because they've not been healthy. Whether it's Austin Reeves out of the lineup or Luka previously out of the lineup, they're getting it done. Schedule hasn't hurt them either. And then Minnesota. Now they've won 3 in a row. They're at 7-4. So outside of the top 6, Golden State 6-5, and when you look at a couple of others, like the Clippers, are they going to be recovering? They're 3-7.
I don't think so.
So who could? I don't either, actually. Who could ascend? Would it be Golden State to bump somebody out of the top 6 that we just went over? Would Golden State be the one to
tell me the top 6 again?
Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Denver, Lakers, Rockets, and Wolves. Yeah, are the Lakers the most susceptible?
Yeah, I don't. The only like, and it sounds crazy to say because they're playing so well right now, but just San Antonio's lack of experience together is the only reason that I would say San Antonio. But I just can't see.
De'Aaron Fox is a real good glue. Is De'Aaron a real good glue guy for them?
And he's a closer. People forget he was clutch player of the year 2 years ago.
Right.
But I can't see anybody outside the top 6 moving into the top 6. Like, I don't think, I've said for years, Golden State's window's closed. And I still believe that. Golden State's window has been closed I have been saying this for years now. After they won their last championship. Yeah, you got Steph Curry and you got a chance. Great addition to Jimmy Butler. But I'm talking about top to bottom. I can't see another team outside the top 6, like pushing somebody out and then moving into that top 6.
Yeah, they're not just showing their IDs; they're showing their ARP cards when they get on a plane.
Amen.
So now here's the top 6 currently in the East. Detroit 9-2 with 7 consecutive wins. Knicks 6-3, 4 straight wins. Miami's won 3-0. Like Cleveland, those two side by side at 7-4. Milwaukee 7-4, and the Bulls, they were 6-1. They're now 6-4 after losing 3 straight. So
you know my answer to this one. You already know, Joe.
I'm
you
ready.
Already know what I'm gonna say.
Tell me who's popping in. They're gonna fall out.
Bulls. The Bulls.
And doubles and Dub Bears. And so does Philly? Is it the Sixers or the Hawks that move into the top 6?
I think
because you've got the Raptors and the Celtics.
I feel like both of those teams actually have a chance to when they get healthy. Trae Young's been out for a significant amount of time. Kristaps Porzingis is in and out the lineup. And obviously, Joel Embiid is maybe on a minutes restriction for the rest of his career. Paul George has not played in a game yet. So I feel like both of those teams, and again, obviously, if healthy is huge when you're having these conversations about the NBA. But if both of those teams are healthy, I feel like both of them have an opportunity to move into the top 6.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the Sixers because if you have a backcourt, that's half the battle. And they've got Maxey and Edgecombe playing really, really well together. And Atlanta at 6-5, they won 2 straight. I just like the makeup of the team. If Trae Young is complete, if he's all in, because when you look at Jalen Johnson and Reese Shea and a couple of others on that squad,
Dyson Daniels,
we know Dyson can cover. He's a lockdown defender. So the Atlanta Hawks are another team that could pop into the top 6 in the Eastern Conference, and they got a good coach. We know that, Quinn Snyder.
Yep.
AD, this has been too much fun again.
Yeah, back at it on Thursday. And you know what we got to talk about on Thursday? When all this stuff comes out about Nico Harrison, we got to revisit it.
Yeah, we will. And, let's tease it. So Thursday, is that the worst trade in NBA history, or is it Billy King sending picks that turn into Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for, at the end of their careers, Kevin Garnett and Paul
I'm definitely
Pierce?
going with Luka.
Okay. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. That'll be on the table. That's the way we'll start it off on Thursday night. AD, enjoy it. Have a good night, and I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and hopefully Pels needed up against the Blazers. For Antonio Daniels, you got it. I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us on the Sports Report on WBOK.
This is Dr. Jaquil Ross, the host for Talk That, NOLA Education, brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans. On Talk That, we'll be focusing on the amazing work of educators and students happening inside and around public schools in New Orleans. Our school communities are full of so much talent and promise, so let's talk about it. This month, we'll be joined by Jamar McNeely, Jarrell Bryant, and Dana Peterson for a discussion focused on the importance of Black men in education. Also, we will hear from Kathleen Harris, Dr. Shayla Guidry, and Dr. Kelly Jordan to talk about how NSNO and NOLA Public Schools are supporting a growing English language learner population in our schools. Following that, we will have a conversation with a few representatives from NOLA Public Schools to talk about the upcoming enrollment window for school year 26-27 using the New Orleans Common Application process. So tune in to Talk That, NOLA Education, every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on 12:30 a.m. To learn more about NSNO and our programs, visit newschoolsforneworleans.org.
Hi, this is Arnie Filko. Let's Elevate every Tuesday through Thursday from 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. as we discuss the community, the country, and the world, from politics to current events to sports. We look forward to your input and continuing the quality programming on your community station, WBOK. Join Carrie and I every Tuesday through Thursday, 6 to 7 o'clock p.m. on Elevated Conversations, the Arnie and Carrie Show. See you soon.
This is Arrington Gavin, and the Arrington Gavin Show is coming up next on WBOK.